What's good, everybody? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? YouTube land. What's good? This your boy Doc Holiday. We back with another HBCU OverDrive live with a collaboration with SheLovesThee. If you haven't done it by now, make sure that you join both pages, both channels. Make sure that you hit that notification bell to get everything on both HBCU OverDrive and SheLovesThee. And also make sure that you become a member of both channels, y'all. Both channels. So having pretty much y'all already know what it is, what it's gonna be, what it is, what it will be. It is Saturday. It is Saturday. Oh, snap. We got new people that became members. Miss Quay, how you doing? How you doing? I need everybody in the chat. If you got some haters in here, man, please send their ass to the upper room. The upper room. Send them to the upper room, man. Send them to the upper room. Miss Coleman, yes, ma'am. Got Israel, yes, sir. Russell, always. He's over. This is all for SheLovesThee. Cousin Ronald, you know what I'm saying? Hot boy Ronald, Mr. Mario, Mr. Hardy. Hey, it's a J State celebration up in here, y'all. It's a J State celebration. Who we got up in here? Mr. Darrell, Mr. Smith, you got the same last name as me, man. Come on now. What's up? How you doing? How you doing today? How you doing? What's up, Tiger Nation? That's right. I got my guy melanated righteously. You know what I'm saying? Alabama State tapped in. Heard some good things coming out of Montgomery from y'all spring game. If you was there, let me know. I send a link up to you. You could tell me all about, if you did go to the spring game or not. Brother Bakari, peace and blessings as always. Black power as always, man. As always. We are in here. Let me see if I can get my co-host on here. I know she might be occupied. On here it's Doc Holiday. In real life, it's another name. I have pretty much a simple name. Very simple name. Yes, sir. I am a Smith, man. Smith Douglas. My dad's name was Douglas. Mom's last name is Smith. So, and if you know me on Facebook, you will really see my name on Facebook if you know me on off of here on Facebook. So we got 43 people in here today. I let everybody know on Thursday night. Thursday night was, man, look, we did the damn thing Thursday night with the show. It was, you know what I'm saying, we was in this thing. Was it Thursday? No, I didn't do a show Thursday. Last night. Last night we was in this thing. Sent you over to Ken Clark. You know what I'm saying? Got 2 more hours of JSU coverage in, and then today was the big day. Today was the spring game. And as always, it is my lovely co-host.
Hang on just a second. Can you hear me?
You loud and clear. We got my boy Alvin Madison in the house from the 409. He down there in Beaumont, Port Arthur. He from the home of the Trill.
How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing? I was what's up, Uncle Sid? I know you in Jackson right now. I was fine. I was fine. I was fine till I had to catch a shoplifter it wasn't in my store, it was inside of Macy's, and seeing him get escorted out without any items in hand was a good day. And plus, I got $40 for tipping the loss prevention off. So, that's something that was going on. Plus, it was kind of busy in my store today. Got the Lone Star Series, Houston versus Texas. I don't know who had spring games here in Dallas, but they probably either had it today. They probably gonna have them next weekend. I was watching Miles College play their spring game earlier before we went on. You went on air. They look kind of decent. They look decent. Try to check up on Bama State, see what they got going on. Yeah, there's a lot that went on.
I was only worried about Jackson State and what Jackson State has going on and how we look, I was thoroughly impressed. But it is good to hear about the other spring games and what they brought to the table and how their spring game went. That'll be interesting to hear that insight.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I know you're JSU centric. I'm pretty much majority JSU centric, but I deal with everything.
Yeah, because we need the rundown. We need to know what we're up against, what type of defensive schemes we're gonna have to run at these different schools.
Yeah, I think we'll be all right. Look, this is the best thing that I heard right here. We'll be all right. I got not schedule, but I got the roster from Coach Perry. Shout out to Coach Perry. And it's my guy, Melanated Righteously. He's from Bama State. Hey, what's going on, my brother, man?
What's poppin', bro?
What's going on? Hey, tell me what's up. Tell me what happened. I know you was at did you go down to Montgomery?
I didn't get the chance to go, man. I had some personal issues that came up, but
okay.
What I was able to see that was streamed look a little shaky.
What you mean look a little shaky, man?
Look a little shaky, man. Offensive line, we're talking about, from what I get, they big up top, but they small on the bottom, man.
Okay.
I don't think them guys been doing leg day too often, and that's troubling.
All right. So the big question, the elephant in the room, Demetrius Davis.
Well, let me say this. Scott and Simpson might be battling for quarterback number one. I don't think Davis enters the fall as quarterback one. That's just me personally. I might be wrong, but from what I've seen out of Scott, the brother can move, and Simpson got an arm. But I've only seen Simpson off his highlight reel because I didn't get a chance to see him. I don't even really know if he played in the spring. But I can say, Davis, he's in trouble.
That don't sound
good. It's not a good thing coming into the summer fall camp, but I will say, I don't know, man. The jury's still out, but I can say from what I saw from Scott, the brother can move.
And he's a transfer that's coming in. Where he's coming from?
I don't know yet. I hadn't get a chance to look him up. I know he's on the roster, but the brother can move. I can say that. I mean, he's not one of the one. He's not afraid. To take a hit.
Right.
He can stand in the pocket, but I can say, if you give him a lane, watch out.
Okay, and you said the other guy, Simpson.
Simpson, that's the transfer kid that's coming in. He got a rocket for an arm, man. I mean, he's tall. He got good vision. in terms of over the field. He can get the ball where it needs to go based off of what I've seen from him. I will say, if Davis slips, if he gives them a crack, he's on the sideline holding the pad. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, I wasn't really sold on him last year. I mean, I'm a big proponent of Miles Crawley. I hate to see him leave. I just don't know how Davis got the star nod and Crawley didn't. I don't know, but I will say E-Rob probably got some bag of tricks up his sleeve. Based off what I saw, man, again, from the streaming, because I didn't get a chance to go. Hopefully, this is just a gaming situation that E-Rob was playing with the rest of the SWAC. Because from what I hear, there was a lot of onlookers that were not from Alabama State that was in attendance.
Oh, man, that's great. That's something to hear right there. That's something to hear. Defensive wise, what are y'all looking like as far as defense?
Oh, we're gonna be straight. We're gonna be straight. Defensively, we'll be straight. I will say, headhunters, we gonna hit. We gonna hit. Watch out. I will say, crossing routes. If your offense is good for crossing routes, that's probably not a good option for your receivers. They're gonna take some bumps and bruises all game long. Defensive line got some questions. Not a lot of size.
Okay.
But
so not a lot of size of what y'all would normally have.
I won't say that we'll be number one defense in the SWAC. I'll probably say.
Please don't say that. Please do not say that.
Depending on who we play, I don't know, man. It might get some upsets defensively. I don't know.
So the size that y'all had the last couple of seasons, I know when 21 came, Christian Clark was he was a load in the middle. I know he graduated and went on to play professionally, but I know y'all reloaded with the interior defensive lineman, and they was pretty much about the same size as he was. You talking about Christian Clark? Christian Clark was 6'4", 335 pounds, playing defensive tackle. I think he played the 2 technique defensive tackle, and
yep,
that was a load to take off the line. Then you switch over to the I forgot the kid's name, but he was a wide load too. He was I think he was 6'4", 315, 320. And now you're saying that you got to get the issue, your issue with the size in the middle. As far as let's say, as far as Bubba Adams and in the linebacker core, so how did they look as far as for the spring?
Linebackers, again, I mean, we'll be solid. We're good. We're good there. I think he has a solid year this upcoming year. I don't think he drops off. In fact, I think he actually improves because he's going to get more attention. They're going to try to attack him more. That's not somebody I would want to attack,
right?
Because he's a solid tackler. He doesn't miss very many, but I will say, from the linebacker standpoint, we're solid. I don't see any drop off, and the guys that we got coming behind him, I mean, it's just as good. In fact, there are a lot of offensive guys that were recruited that played both ways, and they're ready to step in. I can't say there's a local kid. He's down on the defense. Takaris Bozeman, he's a running back. The guy is short, stocky, low center of gravity, and he is fast.
Right.
So I will say, if he gets a chance to start, he's going to be in there. He did play some linebacker in Montgomery as a high school kid. So don't be surprised if E-Rob kind of, moves some guys around, just to get them on the field to see what they can do.
Right. And then we have the defensive backfield. You know, it's about to be anchored by the second-year kid, Adrian Maddox, who by far when I saw him last season, he should have been been first first team all swag, or at least second team all swag. How did he look out there?
He was solid.
He was
solid. You know, based off what he gave. In terms of secondary play, there's some questions. I'm not gonna say that they're not going to be able to produce. I will say that there are some major questions.
Right.
Is Rod, he gonna do his thing? The guys behind him, I don't know yet, but I will say,
because you missed a lot of key pieces in that defensive secondary. Because Ershaw Davis is gone. Who else is out of there? You had who was the other cornerback? He was on the other side. Adrian. His name rings a bell, but I know. But key pieces of the defensive backfield is gone. So you pretty much are going to be you're pretty much going to be new at several positions, except for with Maddox,
we're definitely new.
Right.
We're definitely gonna be new. Like I said, the jury's still out. I don't know yet. Just to be honest with you, there's some young kids that could step in. It's kind of hard to say. I will say that there's some speed.
Right.
They do have speed. If I'm not mistaken, from what I hear, there's a kid that is on the 4x1 team that is trying to make a play. And from what I know about the 4x1 team, they just boat race the national champion track team just this past week. So I will say there's some speed at 915 South Jackson. To whether or not they actually get on the field, who knows? But I will say, the information that I got, these kids are strong. These kids are not, they're not your usual DBs. These kids are strong top and bottom, and they like to be physical.
Hey, I think that fits in well with what Alabama State got going on. So I want to get your early prediction as far as the record wise goes. What do you think Bama State's record is going to be for next season, this coming up season?
Honestly, I think we lose. We're in a battle against Jackson State. We're in a battle. Possible loss. We're in a battle against FAMU.
Which you should have won that game last season.
Yeah.
By the way, y'all should have won that game last season.
Yeah.
Mr. Ford always says that he fusses and preaches about that.
I say maybe if the pieces are put in place, 2 losses.
2 losses?
I say if everything is in place, 2 losses.
Ooh.
I say 2 losses, and those 2 losses. When I say those 2 losses, there's only 2 teams that I'm looking at of losses, possibly to Jackson State, possibly to FAMU. Everybody else, we should beat soundly.
Right. That is a tall order. You hear that? You hear that, T? You said they're going 9-2.
I heard him.
Man, I thank you for coming up here, bro.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, man.
All right.
Y'all heard it from a guy, Melanated Righteously. You know what I'm saying? Bama State product. He said the only 2 losses he feel like they're gonna lose 2 games. Jackson State and FAMU. He said they could go 9-2.
got Bama State for homecoming, so
yeah, and it's a conference game, and it counts on our end, so on both ends. So I'm just saying, it's let's see, I know we talked about Tennessee State yesterday. Blue is in Nashville, covering the spring game up there. So hopefully, I think he said tomorrow he'll have videos of the interviews and the highlights from that game from today. So I know he says he's going to interview Coach Eddie George and a couple of players on the team. I've seen their schedule. They got a tough road ahead of them.
I mean, I just for Coach George's sake, I wish that they would schedule, be like FAMU, go ahead and schedule some D2 schools just so you can have.
They do got one on there.
They need to add another one,
They do got one on there. They can't,
not one, two.
They can't add two.
Don't they go to Notre Dame?
They go to Notre Dame, which is a money game, and plus, it's basically to help out the athletic, the football program. That's that. They getting the money. I think it's $2.5 million. I think that's what it is.
It's not no 2.5 million. You exaggerate.
I'm not exaggerating. I'm just saying. I think I ain't said that it is. It was.
It's like 1.5 million, maybe at most, and that does not. And that's all inclusive.
Hey, if it's 1.5 million, it's gonna be 2 million. I say 2 million.
Cost about 500,000, 600,000 for the team to go.
I think it's 2 million. I say 2 million. So they take that the little 400, 500,000.
Comment in the chat over and under on whether or not TSU gonna get $2 million. I'm finna look it up.
Hey,
do a poll on that.
Oh Lord Jesus, I done got it started. Dr. Hook, hey, can somebody send this person to the gulags? Because I have no time today. Because I could get real ignorant with you. I am not one of these people. I am not your grandfather.
What he done said? What did he say?
He said he wanted to hear from somebody who actually knows football and not somebody who regurgitates narratives. I'm not your mama. I'm not your daddy. I know about football. Okay. Don't get me started today.
Message. Let's see.
Do not get me started today. And if you want to come up here and speak your piece, you can come up here and speak your piece. But if you don't want to do that, keep your ass in the chat.
State versus Notre Dame pair. They only get $1 million.
They only get $1 million? I thought they could have get more than that, man.
It says that $1 million going to Tennessee State Athletics to pay for facilities, coaches, trainers, travel, and everything else. Mm-hmm. That's a bad deal. Bad deal. I'd have told y'all.
Well, they needed to fill the game.
My source, so
what's that?
I put the source down there so you could pull it up.
Oh, here she go, y'all.
I don't play.
I know you don't play. It could have been more than that. They should have had more than that.
So I thought it was that's 2. Why, because it's gonna be about 300-400. Listen,
you sound like Mr. Ford.
It's gonna be about 300,000 to 400. I know they not think. I know that don't include the band. I don't include the band.
I don't know, man.
Who is that person? Don't even. You know how many nasty comments people put in there? You just block it out.
I block it out, but I don't like when people use God and stuff in it.
Did you know that Bruce Mitchell was only 17 years old?
Yeah, he told me when I did the interview.
Good Lord. Didn't he get an interception?
You know what? I must have caught it. I must
That was
didn't catch
number
that one.
28.
Yeah. Batman is number 28.
Oh yeah. Crazy work. Listen, the coverage, and that's what I'm most excited about, is our secondary.
Oh man, I'm too excited about that.
Just because our secondary, like, so you got freshman Bruce Mitchell, you got 3-star Nyreek Sharp, who was at the game, or he was supposed to be at the game. Nyreek Sharp, that's 3-star right there.
Yeah.
Josh Short, he's transferred from Southern.
Mm-hmm.
You got 5, 6, 7, and 8, which is Wiggins, Isaias Guthrie, Keedron Culligan, and Jalen Hughes. Man, lockdown city right there. Lockdown city right there. So I mean, the dark side of the defense, we already had, that front was just, you could not be messed with. But now we've added pieces to the puzzle, which our secondary was good last year, but I really do think, and that's not trying to be on no hate and stuff, I really do think that we have a great group of secondary.
Nah, yeah, I feel you on that one. I feel you.
I'm excited. I was like, dang, that's crazy. It's crazy. Absolutely. Oh yeah, Tristan Sion. That's right. Tristan as well. He's 3-star, 3-4. He's a 4-star.
A 4-star, and then he came to Jackson State. They dropped him to a 3-star.
Yeah, it's a 4-star. So like our secondary, yeah, he got beat twice for touchdowns. Who was that against? Kobe Powell.
Mm-hmm.
And it says we need 1 or 2 more defensive ends and defensive tackles to really be crazy. And that's the thing. We already actually have recruited the defensive ends and defensive tackles. They just haven't been. They're just not on campus yet.
Yeah.
It says we need grad at the DB position. I feel like I don't really think we need any more DBs.
Nah, but you can never go. You can never go without DBs, because some of those DBs, like if you're a safety, let's just say you probably like 6'1", 210, 215, you can kind of come down to like
AJ Petty's at the nickel. He plays nickel, but he's coming out the DB room. AJ Petty.
Right. But like with size, you could drop down to like a extra linebacker. Like you can mix and match. Like say if you play free safety or strong safety, you can mix and match as far as when it comes to the defense. And it's all about what the defense that they're going to run. The best thing about what we saw today was the push up front from the defensive line with what we don't, you know what I'm saying, with what we have right now. And Zorda, you are correct. The only thing that's hurting us that we saw today was the depth. It didn't do us no justice when you had like 3, 4 defensive linemen jump themselves into the portal. Plus, you had one that was your all SWAC performer who got suspended for some silly shit.
What's going on? What you talking about?
I'm talking about when Nyles Gaddy, when he got suspended for the Celebration Bowl.
Oh, okay. So
it wasn't even like the way he got suspended. It really wasn't even for something like what that was for. Like it was just, I don't know, because that's hashing up old memories.
So, I seen Charlton Goodell.
Goodell.
Yeah, I seen him. So I think that's gonna be great. Like I'm excited.
Those guys are being
We
so
ain't even gonna
green.
talk about that. We're gonna talk about the spring game.
Hey, he said, look, he said that.
Can we talk about Ezequiel Johnson? Here, let me pull.
Oh, yeah.
Good
That dude,
Lord.
that kid right there.
Let me pull that up. Good Lord. When I tell you,
I'm gonna take this banner. I'm gonna take the banner down so you can
see ball, get ball. Amazing.
Hey, wow. 7. I think 7 was out there.
7 was they was covering 7. They wasn't letting that boy see no balls. He's in double coverage. He was in double coverage.
That lets you know the type of speed that he has.
Oh yeah, they wasn't gonna let 7 get one off. Okay, I put it up there.
Gotcha.
So I could introduce, because you know what?
No, but we didn't even know who he was.
See, they had him in the cut. They had him in the cut. If you didn't know who you like, who is that? Who is that? Who is that? And you know, he was jumping off the screen. But was it just me, or was he jumping off the screen to you too?
He was jumping out. He was jumping out the screen like vision was nasty, but just having that physicality.
Yeah. So he's from South Brunswick, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Ezequiel Johnson. And crazy. Let's look at some of his film. Like I'm really interested to be able to see, like, who is this man? Who is this young man?
Who this here, Hoppo?
Dang.
Who this here?
Right. I'm talking about a dog. Where you come from? Where you was hiding at?
Southern Connecticut State University.
Okay.
Okay.
So he just jumped off the screen. I mean, he's not the only player, but I was just like, well,
he put himself in himself on the map.
Yeah, he put himself out there on the map for sure. And so, you know, it was great to see Ezequiel. Definitely will be following him as the season progresses. You know, you can only get better. You got your training, you got Coach Beef beefing him up. I want to commend Coach Beef for they definitely look like they've been in that weight room and getting whatever nutrition that they need. Mm-hmm. They getting it.
Yeah, I think some of our problems on the offensive line, even though we did have some physicality on the offensive line last season, we were getting pushed around. They was pushing us around. Certain teams that you saw we played last season, they pushed us around. So what did TC and Coach O do? They go into the portal. They go into the somebody's living room for a high school student and just say, "Hey, look, we're looking for somebody that's big, that's agile, that's strong, and they have some nastiness in them." When you're an offensive lineman, you cannot be passive aggressive. You gotta have some nastiness in you when you're on that field.
You said you have to do what now?
You gotta have that nastiness. Like, you just gotta have that dog. So once that ball is snapped, your mind goes blank.
I liked it. I saw that, like you said, the physicality, and see ball, get ball. See, this is the thing. Every practice and every game, you are basically vying for that number one spot, for that chance to start. Let's talk about who's next on the list. Let me pull him up.
Miss Sabrina, I like what you just said right here. You glad that you saw Greyson play? Bless him. Greyson actually looked good out there for a kid who has not played in 3 years.
I mean, I think, which bless Rob J, boy, he's a fool. But
we gonna get into that. We gonna get it. We gonna get into that also. Cause
I love Rob J. I mean, he definitely is some good quality commentating from
oh my God.
Rob J. But Greyson has been in the wings quietly. And when I thought about Greyson on the team, I was like, well, number one, he's a quarterback. But number two, I don't know if people realize the impact that Greyson had last season with doing the signing of the calls for the offensive coordinator. So he's basically telling the players what call are they going to run. So he was basically an assistant to the offensive coordinator, right?
Yeah.
So in my mind, not even just thinking about vying for the quarterback position, but just knowing that you have that quality on your resume, which is that you're able to sign out the plays to the rest of the team while you're on the sideline.
Right.
And he's learning how to call the plays out. That is to itself, that's something that no other quarterback on the team has right now.
Right.
He was able to grab that. So he was already an asset to the team already, just by having that quality experience and being able to do that underneath the offensive coordinator. But today he showed up and he showed out. I was very
I was impressed.
Impressed. Right. That's impressive. Very impressive. Like, wow, okay. Not really, he's not playing no games.
And I get you, Mr. G, on the real. You are correct. You really cannot gauge what the D line is going to be from the spring game, until you have that that final form, that final version of what of what it's going to be like. So we all said, look, it's the evaluation. This game, all spring games are evaluation. That's all it is.
I don't even really think it's an evaluation. I think it's more so of it's something for the fans, because they've only had 15 practices, right? I don't think that you're able to gauge the totality of a team based off of a spring practice. How can you gauge it?
I mean,
you can get some, like what we were able to do right now. From what we saw is we were able to say, oh man, Kobe Powell is getting to the ball.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Greyson Thompson, he's throwing pretty good. I want to watch him, or see where he comes at. So we were able to gauge players that we didn't necessarily know about, like Ezequiel Johnson. So these are players that we'll be looking forward to following as the time progresses. But the blue and white game, for me, I felt like it was a chance to just see what the team has for right now.
Right. I mean, but you still, I mean, in a sense, when it comes to the spring game, it's still an evaluation, and it's a like what Mr. Hardy said, it's a gelling process. You want to get those kids to gel together, but it's kind of hard to it's kind of hard to gel together now because you have the transfer portal. Because kids can, you know what I'm saying, they come and they go.
You know, honestly, I think unless I think we're going to see a slowing down of people entering the portal if they're on the team, or anybody for that matter. If you're a second-year transfer, unless you're a grad transfer, you're not going to enter that transfer portal.
Zorda, I'm thinking something like that too, because I think last season I really rather had Greyson being the number 2 over Andrade.
Well, you know that Andrade was actually bought in by the offensive coordinator, so that could speak to why we did not see Greyson Thompson, because Andrade was actually bought in by that offense. The offensive coordinator basically recruited Andrade.
Right. I mean,
that's something to say. I mean,
to me, I'm just saying, to me, he should have been QB2. That was my say, because just think about this. Shedeur went down. What game he went down? Alabama A&M, right? He got his bell rung.
You talking about when he got a concussion in his
when he got concussion,
still
had him playing, and he should have sat his ass down. You know what I'm saying? He did not. The offense did not look remotely the same when Andrade came in there. Like, seriously, it did not look remotely the same. Like, it was at certain times, it seemed like JP forgot how to play football. He forgot how to play football.
I know that I'm trying to think of this from a different perspective, more so of like when Shedeur got pulled, a lot of the starting O-line got pulled, a lot of the starting wide receivers got pulled. It wasn't the same. So it wasn't like Andrade had first string O-line and first string wide receivers out there.
Right.
So that's what I saw. And they only let him play for like 2 minutes, enough to put to, you know,
they didn't
really do anything.
They didn't put Shedeur back in the game because the game, I wouldn't say the game was well out of reach, but A&M wasn't coming back in that game. They wasn't coming back. It was but to me, when he got his bell run, and you saw Andrade, oh my God, short hop pass. I forgot which receiver it was. I was like, I think it was to Shane Hooks. I was like, you know what? That offense with him, that offense don't look nearly as.
And then you couldn't even really say, because at that point in time, he didn't even warm up. He was doing play calls. He wasn't warmed up.
Gotta stay ready, so you won't.
He
stay ready.
Over there doing sign language. He wasn't ready to throw no balls. He ain't have no warm up. They say, you get in there. His daddy didn't even want to sit him when he had a concussion. But you know what? That's neither here nor there. I liked Greyson. He was good in high school. He was good in high school.
Yeah, he was good at. I watched him at.
Didn't he play for Coach Prime on?
No.
Yes, he played for him on one of those little special teams. I'm pretty sure.
As far as his youth football team.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That's
probably
so.
But
he's from Denton, Texas.
6'3",
205 pounds.
Transferred in from University of North Texas. He had a decent year when he had a pretty good year his senior year in high school. I think he was all district that year, his senior year. Big B, what's going on? But Mr. G, I understand as far as understanding the offense for Bartoloni, which was pretty much just damn dink and dunk. But once once he had got in that game and you short hopping passes to your receivers who are go getters, I gotta take them out. I gotta put somebody else in. And then another thing too, instead of throwing the damn ball, hand it off. Hand the ball off. You know what I'm saying? Hand the ball off. That's why you had Savion Wilkerson in the backfield. But not to say that I understand what you're saying because he didn't understand the offense.
Man, I know Adrian Crook is not in here talking SHIT about Jason Brown when Jason Brown came to Jackson State on January 4th. He was supposed to be at Southern on January 6th, and he committed to Jackson State. Now you over here trying to talk mess.
Don't get her started, y'all.
Greyson was Scout Team Player of the Week 3 times at UNT. It looks like the Southwestern Athletic Conference will host its annual football media day on Tuesday, July 25th at 10 a.m. at the Sheraton, Birmingham, Alabama.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Garner.
To see who they send for football media day. Who you think?
For football media day?
Yeah, what players do you think going? Too early to tell.
It's too early to tell, but one of them might be Jason. It might be JB. And for offense and for defense, the other one probably would be. I would go with Nyles Gaddy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, he was there for media day his freshman year when he first came in. We didn't know who he was. He kind of stayed quiet. You know, he did bust out on the scene. He made he made enough noise his first year. Then he gets to his second year, he screamed out his name. Yeah, I'm here. Or 7, I don't know about 7, but it would more likely be Jason Brown and Nyles Gaddy. But who knows? You know, to me, who knows what Coach TC would have up his sleeve. We got the OG C. Lee McInnes. Thank you. He did not play well that 404 quarter.
Well, I will say this. It was refreshing to see Greyson Thompson get the ability to throw that ball around. Defensively, who did you see? Were you able to watch the beginning? I missed the beginning. They said Nyles Gaddy was. Yeah, I heard they was doing touch ball, but they said Nyles Gaddy was giving them that work.
Y'all, it is crazy. Nyles is. Y'all remember, understand this. Nyles came in as a linebacker. He came in as a linebacker. I think he was either the weak side or the strong side. More likely, he's a strong side linebacker. Okay. He's big. He's big. He's still growing. His dad said he was still growing last season. So he came in at like 6'3", 6'4", right? 215, 220. He beefs, you know what I'm saying? He gets beefed up. He goes at 230 pounds. He put another inch on him because he went from 6'4" to 6'5". From what his dad said, he's like 6'5", 6'6". And this is coming from his father. he has his first step off the line is it's nasty. Like it's quick. And he has the way that he can use his hands to ward off the offensive tackles. He has gotten better with that. And then also he can have brute strength. Like he can have, he can get you with speed, he can get you with quickness, he can get you with brute strength, he could just get you with straight up brutality on that defensive line. But he came in as a linebacker. Y'all just remember that, y'all. He came in as a linebacker. And if he did not get hurt last season, if he didn't get hurt, what game was that? Was it the Tennessee State game? If he didn't get hurt, because he had 4.5 sacks, which he should have had 6. He should have had 6 that night, and he ended up giving Draylon Ellis 3 cracked ribs that same night. They was on his ass that whole night in Memphis. And if he was healthy the whole season, Nyles probably would have ended up with like 15, 16 sacks for the whole year. That's how good Nyles Gaddy was last season.
I definitely feel like it's going to be crazy this year. It's going to be a breakout season for a lot of players. And it's exciting to see the new players or hear about them and get to see that translate on the field. So Nyles Gaddy for sure. Big Boosie had a big tackle.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that?
Oh yeah, I saw that one. I think that's when I came in on.
I said, wait, hold up. He forgot that it was he forgot it was his teammate. Boys flattened him.
Oh.
Philip Webb looked good as well. That front seven, and that's what I think is the defense. Like as far as the dark side goes, it hasn't gone anywhere. Tim Stewart, he tackled somebody, and kicked him, hit him into the stands. I guess that they went flying into the stands. So, it's just gonna be great to see everything come to fruition. There we go. See, and I missed that 40. I need to pull that 40, 50-yard pass up because I missed that part. I came in a little bit late. So that's great to see. A new rule instituted by the NCAA on Thursday means that Division I HBCUs will have less of a second chance to make a first impression on recruits and prospective athletes. I think he's talking about the unlimited visits.
Yeah.
But, I mean, from what I understand, I don't really necessarily think that would deter anybody. Last year, basically, if you're going to implement the rule, I don't see how that would be against them because we said take all your visits. Go on all your visits.
Yeah.
Go on all of your visits. Go look at the oohs and the ahs. And then when you break it down to that these folks, you're just a number to them.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. He said prospects will be limited to one official visit per school.
I thought it was unlimited.
is one of I think we one official visit because you get an official visit and an unofficial visit.
NCAA approves rule allowing process to take an unlimited number of official recruiting visits. I'm here. Pull it up.
You got it.
Yeah.
Pina.
From what I seen,
Mr. Ford, how you doing?
Hey, how's everybody going?
Preliminary, it says unlimited visits. But you know what? I'm not trying to be funny, but most of the people that came to our schools, they wasn't taking official visits to our school anyway.
Oh, this is my boy Randy. Randy, man, I was not at the spring game. I had to work today, so I caught it on SheLovesThee on her page. And if you want content, Randy, you could go anywhere to get that content. All you have to do is just find it.
Okay, so can someone explain to me why this would be a detriment to HBCUs?
What it said it's unlimited visits, but one official visit to each school. So unlimited visits.
Okay, so can someone please let me know how that's going to be at the detriment to HBCUs? I mean, I have to do some more research, but I'm not understanding how that's going to affect the kids. Because most of the kids that was coming.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Most of the kids that was coming, they was coming unofficially anyway.
But I think it's more for after this season. It's basically for football. You really think about it, football and basketball. They don't really care about any other sport. Did you hear about that, Mr. Ford? Where I think it's NCAA letting.
Yeah, they trying to curtail some of the movement, but from what I'm hearing, it's not going to stop it up. Bleacher Report just put out a article saying this week, because today it opened up, right? Didn't the transfer portal open up today? Or
yes,
what day?
Yeah, today.
Okay. The Bleacher Report is saying they're expecting thousands to get in, at least 1,000.
Well, I know it says that in here. It says that be prepared to pony up for more luxury hotel rooms, airline tickets, steaks, and lobsters. Like, as far as Jackson State or any HBCU for that matter, we have never competed with, do we have steaks and shrimps and how big our facilities are. What we have always marketed to these kids is not only are you going to grow as a person, but your people, you're going to be you're going to be playing in front of your people.
Right.
These people love you. It's not about necessarily about you being a number. It's not a school where there's only 2% of the population at the school is Black, and all of those Black people are athletes because you guys are here to work. It's about the culture. We've always promoted that the culture is the reason why you're coming to a HBCU. And to top that off, you can still get to the NFL coming from an HBCU.
Well, he said the article presumes that the HBCUs were using the limited visit rule as an excuse or buffer to excuse to not pay for official visits.
We wasn't paying for official visits because we ain't got the money for it. What they talking about? So for us, the things that we were saying, I know the last regime, the things that he was saying, which they will continue, which is go on, take your official visits, go on ahead, and then when you're ready to commit, come on back over here because we got you. Go ahead and take as many official visits as you want to. Let them wine and dine you. So I could never I'm just trying to figure out, But it's always been that way. And it's not because HBCUs say see us as an unofficial visit, because we don't have the funds to get you a private jet. You know, you may get an official visit, but you get in McDonald's. Well, listen, now I will say this: we got Johnny T's and we have soul food down here in the South. Shoot, I'm willing to bet unofficial visit to Stamps Burgers is dope. So for me, I would have to do a little bit more research, but I do not think that changing it to where they can take unlimited official visits is going to hinder HBCUs.
Yeah, man. Oh man, that's a whole that's
our food. I don't care how many steaks you get, boy. That Southern food will do something to you. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about the luxury of luxury. There's some soul food eats and spots in Jackson that, bar none, they have the best food.
Yeah, you said the same thing you just said. It's a budgetary challenge. It's, you know, you have to kind of like you're doing pennies on a dollar when you do this, but you know, when you have this type of the budget to do official visits and stuff, so you have to like remember you don't have a big budget as far as for the football program.
I mean, I feel like we definitely I don't know. I seen them take an official visit and they was eating at Johnny T's and they committed to Jackson State.
Shout out to
Let me know something. They was eating at Johnny T's. Mr. Moore, I was thick thin. I was 115 wet, maybe 110, 105, 115, soaking wet back when I was at Jackson State, and I was at every Boston Fish Supreme, Valley Street Fish House.
Oh Lord!
Then on top of that, my godmom and her daughter that worked at the JSU hair studio, they whole family was cooking all of it, soul food, and I didn't gain nothing. So y'all budget is less than grams, and our budget is less than Gremlins. Let me shut up. I'm not gonna say that.
He's Southern though.
Yes, I was eating and was still stick thin. Mr. Crook is worried about Jackson State and what Gremlin got, and all I want to know is what is Dooley doing down there?
What is Dooley doing down, Mr. Ford? What you think Dooley doing down there in Southern?
Getting ready to go into that transfer portal.
No.
He said no question. He said no questions asked. He about to go in that portal.
Go in that portal. Now, FAM, the announcers, I watched FAM spring game and I watched Alabama State. Now, FAM's the announcers said definitely they expecting to bring in at least 25 new players, and that they would definitely be going into the portal. The other thing about FAM today, FAM had 200 kids at their spring game today. Yeah, they had 200 kids.
Official visit or unofficial?
You know what? I'd have to find out, Mr. Mona, but they did announce that they had 200 kids at the game today, 200 recruits.
If they was there, they probably was on an official visit.
Yeah, I'm thinking they were too. But now, Mr. Mona, I'm going to have to disagree with you now. You said that you think that there won't be as many kids going into that transfer portal?
Well, not if they're second year transfers. If they're first year transfer, absolutely. If they're graduating, they have enough credits to graduate, and they're going to get grad transfer. Yes, but
yeah, because the word is now that they're expecting a lot of kids to get in that transfer portal. Now, what we're hearing about the Power 5 is that the kids who are not going to be on that second line or possibly third line, those schools are encouraging them to go to the transfer portal. So they're actually putting them kids out and putting them in that transfer portal. Because you know that the old line in the Power 5 was after 2 springs and you're not starting, you need to go down. And what they mean by go down, you need to go FCS.
Right.
Well, so what we're going to see now is, if you're saying that, is we're going to see a gap reduction in D2. So y'all be careful when y'all scheduling these D2 teams, because if you are trying to go FBS, if you're not going down, don't you have to sit out a year? You can only do it.
No. When you go down, you automatically eligible.
Right, immediately eligible. Yeah. Right. So
you're
what I'm saying is the D2 gap is definitely going to close up. So FAMU, y'all got to be careful, because they might be doing some of these folks about the portal that's FBS.
Yeah, I was looking at I wanted to really look at that defense today, because I can see what they're saying. I didn't see the size I thought I would see in their front 7. And the word is that a lot of those kids will be there in about 2 to 3 weeks, because FAM's graduation, I think, is the last of April, 1st of May. And then that's when them kids will come to a lot of the kids, whether it be high school, transfer portal, whatever, they'll come to FAM's campus for the summer.
So that's what I don't understand is, if pretty much every single team is looking to switch out 25 to 30 players on their roster, why is everybody giving so much flack towards Jackson State and our turnover on our roster?
Well, you pioneered it.
Mm-hmm. When Dion came in, he used that transfer portal to the T.
The only thing is, some of these schools are using the transfer portal and pulling all these kids out, and the talent ain't matching what they pulling out. So they done pulled out 15 people out the transfer portal, and they ain't doing nothing.
And I get what you're saying though, but what we're saying is, what you're asking is like, why is people worried about what we doing when we go to the portal? Is the fact that Dion used that portal to pretty much get the teams that he wanted to get. You know what I'm saying? To actually put him out there on the field. His way of doing the things, his way was to do it was, I'm about to get these kids. Are we gonna coach them up? We'll probably coach them, but they're gonna have so much talent, and we're just gonna put them out there, and we're just gonna ball. You have to really understand, he out talented everybody in the SWAC. Not saying that none of those kids that he brought in from the portal, they didn't know how to play, because most of them they can play, but when you bring in a James Houston, who was an inside linebacker, and you switch him over to defensive end,
right,
that's saying like he has the patience. I mean, not saying he has the patience, but like, if you want to get into the NFL, this is how you're going to get in there. I'm gonna put you on this D line, and you got the speed, you got the quickness, you got the power. All you gotta do is just go out there and wreck havoc. And he had 16 sacks in 21.
Yeah. And y'all didn't get him until what, August?
We didn't get him until July.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So he didn't even come in. He didn't come in during.
Scheme is not gonna work. It's not gonna work in Colorado. You're not finna out talent Oregon, USC. Well, USC finna leave, so but
it still don't matter.
You gotta come a whole different method. And for one, pulling Jackson State players every 2 to 3 weeks, that ain't gonna work either. Not trying to be funny. You just play people from somewhere else. Now's the time to go ahead and get some other players from other places.
So, when the portal the portal can give it and it can take it. It took it away.
Yeah, Georgia Tech basically said in that article today that they're looking to pull some more players from the portal.
Yeah, every school is doing that. Even the most trash school like Vanderbilt is going to go into the portal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But the only thing is, you got to have the credentials, got to have the grades now.
Yep.
That's one thing about Vanderbilt. You got to have the grade.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was trying to say is that what Mr. McGinnis or Dr. McGinnis is saying, which is the SWAC, all of them are looking to bring in 15 to 25 new players.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
And so how are they going to be talking about what we have
what
and
we
how
have going on
mesh and this, that, and the third?
I see what you're saying. But to me, it's like this. You're playing catch for the last 2 years. Everybody in the SWAC has been playing second fiddle to Jackson State. The only one that's even close enough to us is FAMU.
Now, is that personnel?
Personnel wise?
Yeah.
Certain parts of personnel wise, yeah.
Yeah, well, don't forget Alabama State's a sleeping giant. They
Alabama
got
State. Yeah,
Alabama State. I saw them today, and they listen. They got some more talent now. I watched their spring game today. The defense is still the top part of the team, but the thing I saw today is there is a vision and a philosophy now on offense. That guy that Blue was talking about
for Texas,
for
Alabama State.
Yeah. Okay. The number one thing that they're going to do is not pass; it's going to be run, and they're running it out of the pistol. They're lining that tailback 6 to 7 yards behind the quarterback, which is what we call the pistol. Mm-hmm. And they have a true commitment to the run game, which is going to help their quarterbacks because they are not going to depend solely on their quarterback. I saw that today.
Okay,
but it's a different. Bama State is going to be better. Now, I ain't saying they're going to win the SWAC and none of that, but offensively, from what I saw today, they're better. Like I said, there's a philosophy, there's a vision.
He got he got some stuff going on. He got some things going on.
Yeah. Now the thing I wasn't able to see the vertical game because everybody's vanilla in the spring. I really wasn't able to see the vertical game. I did see some intermediate passing. One thing is obvious: D is not a pocket passer. He has to either be sprint out, rolled out, semi-rolled, whatever. But standing him up in the pocket is just about getting him hurt. That's all that's going to happen.
My guy, he was on here. He was giving his take. He's from Bama State. He says 2 QBs that might give D Davis a run for his money.
I saw one today. I think he was wearing, 16? Was it 16?
It was Scott. One kid last name was Scott, and the other kid last name was Simpson.
I think I saw Scott then. I didn't see Simpson there.
Yeah, he said it might be those two might give D Davis a run for their money. And if he stinks up the joint, I don't think Eddie Robinson would have a problem yanking him out.
Yeah, but the thing I saw today is that the offense is not going to be totally around D Davis. They're going to run that football. And I'm talking about they got their number one priority is running the football.
Right.
I saw that today. Now, the other thing I missed was I wanted to see them play with the tight ends, 1 or 2 tight ends. I didn't see that.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I wanted to see them play with it. I saw some tight ends, but I didn't see them really run plays with the tight end.
Yeah, so most schools are adding to y'all or rebuilding. Some schools are rebuilding and some schools are adding.
Can we pull up that slide?
Gotcha.
So out of these 7 of these 11 on our defense were already at Jackson State.
Right.
Got K5. Now this is as of today. So these are actually players that played in the spring game. And so we got Kevrick K5, Antonio Doyle, Jeremiah Williams, Devontae Davis, Nyles Gaddy, Jalen Hughes, AJ Petty. They were already at Jackson State and they returned. And that's not even just all of them. But what I'm saying is everybody keeps talking about what they have offensively. Like Jackson State wasn't bogarting defensively and stopping even Alabama A&M, who had Aqeel Glass at the time that year.
And 21.
Yeah, stopped him completely. He couldn't do nothing. So I'm saying that to say this because we were talking about how SWAC teams are offensively improving. Couldn't do nothing against Jackson State. And the proclaimed best quarterback of the SWAC is from FAMU is Musa, right?
He looked terrible today.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Time out. Before we go,
that's shots fired. That's a shot fired.
Before we move,
he looked terrible today.
You said he looked what? Terrible.
He looked terrible. The best looking quarterback was that Maritovich guy.
Ooh,
yeah, Musa looked rusty. He was doing that high school stuff, staring down his receivers, wasn't scanning the field. He didn't look good today at all.
I knew he was gonna do that. I knew.
He looked
said
bad.
the same thing. I said this about Musa. If he does not have anybody that he can trust to rely on, he is going to be garbage. I don't like
he didn't look good at all.
Kid. I don't like saying anything like that about a kid, but he is going to be
what
terrible.
What you're saying is he needs some wide receivers that are able to get open.
No.
Well, they were getting open, but he like I said, he does that high school stuff. See, you're supposed to get rid of that in high school. He stares down his receiver instead of scanning the field.
Right.
See, if you're a quarterback, you scan the field. You don't just look the ball. I mean, look at the one wide receiver you're gonna throw to. That's what we're trained. We used to train the DBs. Watch his eyes. And so to keep them DBs off of you scan the field. You don't just watch it one. And that's what he was doing today. That's why I say he was doing that high school stuff. But the kid who really looked good for FAM today was this white kid named Maritovich.
Yep.
He looked really good today.
So remember I said that me and Mr. Ford, we talked about this. I think it was the game where they played Alabama State.
Yeah.
And he, because his safety blanket, his security blanket was not a tight end. It was Xavier Smith.
Yeah.
Wherever Xavier Smith was, that's who he was throwing to.
Yeah. And the other thing about Musa is Musa really is a pro set type of quarterback. He can play in the spread with the 4 wide receivers and all of that. But Musa needs 1 or 2 tight ends on the field at all times.
Right.
And not just to throw up the seams, but also for pass protection. He can run, but he's not a scrambler. He's not a scrambler. Now, one thing about Musa, the worst pass rush for him is that pass rush that comes straight up the middle. When you come straight up on the middle on him, because he really wants to drop back and throw.
He's a statue in the back.
Yeah, there you go. And for some reason, and I'm not criticizing Coach Simmons, but Musa has to play with tight ends. And if he doesn't play with tight ends, that hurts him.
Now I'm gonna say it like this:
I agree with Marianne. I agree with Miss Marianne. There's only 2 teams that can compete with Jackson State, and that's Jackson State and Texas State. Those are only 2 teams that could compete with us.
So I'm gonna say this: Israel, you said we're gonna do so, but Aqeel, the difference between Aqeel and Musa, Aqeel had the vision to scan the field, and he had receivers that can go get it.
Yeah. Now listen, we really can't mention Ezequiel and Moose in the same breath.
Can't do it.
No, we can't do that. That boy Ezequiel, like you said, that Jackson State game killed. That was one of his worst games. Cause basically Jackson State overpowered their offensive line. James Houston gave him a headache from down one. But that kid, Ezequiel Glass, was a pro prospect, and he is a pro prospect. I don't know about Musa being no pro prospect now. He can throw the football, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he's no pro prospect now.
And he can still be looking to go to the XFL, the CFL.
Yeah.
There's there's
USFL
some other
started
options
today.
as well.
Let's not mention Musa in the same breath with Ezequiel Glass. Let's not do that.
Nah, that ain't somebody. Nah, I'm like.
That means you got to take one breath.
then say your sentence with Ezequiel and then start another sentence with Musa. There we go. Yeah.
But it was just,
man, if let me tell you something, if FAMU had Ezequiel Glass right now, boy.
It would have been that. If FAMU had Ezequiel Glass,
man,
it would have been It would have been who? Quinn would I say Quinn Gray? Or Pat Bonner. I think it was Pat Bonner. Either one. Pat when the Mad Bomber was at FAMU, I think it would have been just like that.
Now listen, I only saw one offensive lineman was lost. FAM basically got that whole offensive line back.
Yeah.
And that was that COVID, that right tackle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's gone.
Is that still the 59-3 O-line, or was some?
Yeah.
But remember, in that game, I think that two O linemen the game before got hurt. One of them was the big Ramos. Was it Ramos? One was from South Florida. I didn't see him today. I didn't see him. He was out for the season because he tore his knee in that Carolina game.
Now the announcers did say that a number of starters were held out today. They didn't play. They didn't dress at all.
Man, that's a detriment to watching the spring game in the first place.
But listen, that offensive line for FAM is going to be all right. I saw him today, but I still say, and I'm not trying to tell Coach Simmons what to do because I respect him, and I think he's one of the best coaches we got.
Right.
I still say he needs to play one or two tight ends often. That makes Musa better. Musa is not really a spread type of what we call a four wide type quarterback. He's not that.
Also, it helped that running game too.
Yeah. Now I didn't know that Jennings was back, but I thought Jennings had graduated, but he's back.
He's back. Yeah.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of schools. There's a lot of teams that improve. Who else? South Carolina State. I kind of peeked in. My boy Kobe. I think he was there at the spring game, and he said that Corey Fields looked kind of decent.
Okay, so Corey Fields is back?
Yeah, Corey Fields is back.
What's this in 6 years? How many years is it for him?
Fifth year. Okay.
Because I thought they were going to go with that. They got one kid about 6'5", a big quarterback. I thought they was going to turn it over to him. I was thinking Corey was gone.
Nah. Corey Fields came back. He looks
okay. I know they got a new offensive coordinator.
They say he looked all world. I just say he looked decent.
Yeah, they got a new offensive coordinator. I know that. And they brought the old offensive coordinator from North Carolina A&T. He's the new wide receiver coach. I can't think of his name right now. He was under Broadway and under what was Sam's name?
Sam Washington.
Sam Washington. He was Sam Washington's offensive coordinator.
Mr. G, fam, you got good running backs, but they are too top heavy from last season. And you can't tell me you only could go 3.1 and 3.4 yards a carry. That makes no sense if you 225, 230. That you can't get at least 4 yards out of there.
Now, one thing is obvious. Listening to the announcers for the FAMU spring game, Willie got to beat Jackson this year.
What you got to say about that?
Willie got to beat Jackson. They made that point several times. They got to beat Jackson this year. They love him, and he's a homeboy and all of that. But the alumni is restless.
I think him getting second best in the SWAC all this time is good. I mean, you getting second best is great. Like, I don't know where are you going from there.
No,
I don't know why you saying it's a must win. What they gonna do?
But the thing about Willie is he's been 9-2 for the last 4 years.
Yeah, they won a championship.
He needs to get over the hump, but if you put hot seat, why would you do that? You gonna disband the whole program.
because of the simple fact, well, one of the years that 2 of the years he was 9-2 that he was in the MEAC, one of them was for APR because he couldn't go to the Celebration Bowl.
Right. That's right.
APR. The other one was because A&T, was it A&T or Central? Somebody beat them in conference play.
It was Bethune. Remember if they had beat Bethune, they would have gone to the Celebration Bowl. Yeah, it was Bethune.
They couldn't get it done. They couldn't get.
Remember the last 2 years they were in the MEAC, they beat A&T. They have a 2-game win streak over A&T.
Against A&T.
Right.
Listen,
so it was Bethune.
You cannot get rid of Willie, okay?
No, I'm not. Simone, I'm not saying they get, but I'm just saying
this year they're gonna be.
No, they're not gonna get rid of it. But it's kind of getting hot down there in Tallahassee. I'm gonna be honest with you. They won't. Yeah.
They want
Florida. It's hot.
They want a SWAC championship. They want a SWAC championship, and they want to go to the Celebration Bowl.
The only way they gonna get a SWAC championship is if they go to sleep and get it in their dreams. Because it's not.
You know what? I'm done with you. I'm done.
They're gonna be 10-1 this year. Look, they're gonna be 10-1 this year. I predict that Valley is gonna give them hell. They thinking they're gonna come in here and that Valley gonna be something sweet.
I said
Valley not gonna be nothing sweet. And then
now, do they go to Itabena or do they come to Tallahassee?
They go to Itabena.
They're gonna be down in the Valley.
The last time they went to Itabena, they had a big.
I saw that game.
They had a big lead on them.
Yes, they did. I saw that game on TV.
And the only thing that held Valley back was the quarterback play.
Yeah, Valley gave them a game. I saw that.
You see what they did? They done went and they got them a quarterback.
Oh yeah.
They had their spring game today too.
Better hold on to just being 10. They could be 10-1 this year.
No, but
Blue Blossom Classic, they're gonna lose. Classic.
There's some stampedes off of championships. Always have and always will.
Yes, sir.
You know, they went 80 years, and in 80 years they only had 12 losing seasons.
When we asked this question last night, I was on Twitter. Like, I asked a question like, is Willie Simmons on the hot seat? Because I don't think so. Because the thing to me, I don't think he is.
No, I don't either.
But if he
that's pressure, not the hot seat, but that is pressure.
It's pressure. If you don't get to the Celebration Bowl, what do you have to say about that schedule?
Yeah.
What are the people gonna say? Well, we went away from the schedule that you had the last 2 years. The year before, you got into the playoff on, I wouldn't say on the technicality, but because y'all ran through the conference after, you know what I'm saying, after the loss to Jackson State. You got into the playoffs, you lost to Southeast Louisiana. Okay.
Right.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible loss. Turn around. You did the same thing again this season. Last season, you did the same thing again, 22. You begged and plead to the NCAA to put y'all in the playoffs because after that, because you lost the first game you lost because you didn't know about the eligibility of all your players, majority of your players.
You're talking about the North Carolina game.
Right.
Right. So yeah.
Second week you lost when you got throttled by 56.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't that the worst? That's the worst whooping they ever took in FAMU history.
Yeah, I think that was the worst.
Again for HBCU, right?
Yeah, it had to be the worst one.
Yeah, that's the worst one ever. Against for HBCU.
And then you turn around, you go 9 straight.
We'll never let them live it down. We'll never let them live it down.
And then you go 9. Then you go 9 straight. And then you try to beg to plead to get into the playoffs. That schedule that you had, especially the close win that you had against Alabama, not Alabama, but Albany State.
Right. Yeah.
Even though that is a rival game for you.
Yeah.
In a sense, it's a tough rivalry game. Mm-hmm. They're looking at you to go blow these dudes out.
Right, because they Division II.
Right. They feel like they ain't got no business being on the same platform with you.
Right.
And you won by 10.
Yeah. Actually, Albany State dominated them in the first half.
First half. Yes. So, it's just the thing. This season, you have they have to beat the Kings of the SWAC, Jackson State.
Yeah. Now let me say this now, Doc. The reason I say I don't think it's a hot seat situation. See, FAM learned from their mistake. They forced out Billy Joe, and after they forced Billy Joe, they got some of the worst people they could get to be head coach, and they destroyed that program. And that was from about they forced Billy Joe out in 2003. They didn't get that program really back together until Willie Simmons came to Tallahassee. They went through Reuben Carter, Joe Taylor, what's that guy, Earl Holmes. And then that guy who I thought was the worst was that Alex Woods, who we thought was going to do something. He didn't do nothing. They had 4 of the worst coaches in the history of the school. So that's why I say it's not a hot seat for Willie, because them people in Tallahassee know that Willie is about as best they're going to get. You know what I'm saying? He's about the best they're going to get.
Not even just that. If you have to rebuild, then you have a chance that you're not going to go even they should be 10-1 this year, because they're going to lose to Jackson State, but then they can go 10-1.
But see, I don't even think they'll be 10-1, because they still got to play Alabama State, and they play And what you like, even though I know the roster is not finalized, it's
not.
This is just way too early prediction right here.
Right. Because that's why I watched it. I wanted to see that front seven. I wasn't really worried about their offense. I wanted to see what that front seven was going to look like. And one of the things they kept emphasizing was that 25 players, at least 25 players are coming maybe in the next 2 weeks. Well, no. Because they said after graduation, FAM's graduation is either the end of April or the 1st of May. So when that happens, a lot of kids are going to come to Tallahassee.
Yeah, so that's my thing about it. So it's you pretty much got to run the whole SWAC and hope somebody beat Jackson State. Hope and pray and wish that somebody beat Jackson State. And this hope, wish, and pray that somebody beat Jackson State. Somebody. It's another thing. FAMU likely to come to Bama State 0-3 September the 23rd.
Right, because they got they got Jackson first. Who's second?
Let's go through that schedule.
I know that. Wait a minute, Bama State. They got them the 3rd game or the 4th game.
4th game of the season.
Okay, so who is number 1, 2, and 3? 1 is Jackson. Who is 2?
I'm pulling it up.
It's not South Florida, is it?
Yeah.
It's South Florida?
Yep.
So yeah, that's a loss. Okay, who's the 3rd game?
West Florida.
Well, let me tell you something, man. If they lose to West Florida, man, it's gonna be boy, listen, man, all hell gonna break loose down there in Tallahassee. If they lose to West Florida, as bad as them people didn't want them on their schedule, they gotta beat West Florida. That's a mandatory game, man. Man, they cannot lose to West Florida.
Man. And then they go to Bama. Then Bama State come to Bragg.
That's right. That I would like to go to that. Yeah. But they cannot lose to West Florida, man. They can't. That's a Division II school. That's somebody the alums didn't want them on the schedule. They can't lose that game, man.
I heard they fought tooth and nail trying not to get them on the schedule.
Huh?
I heard they was fighting tooth and nail trying not to get them on the schedule.
Well, actually, the team that caused West Florida to be on there was South Carolina State. That was supposed to be South Carolina State's game to come back to Tallahassee, and then they canceled out. But I think the 24-25, I think they're back on the schedule. But that's why West Florida is on that schedule. It's because of what South Carolina State did to them. Because they canceled out at the last minute. But listen, Doc, they can't lose to West Florida, man. Man, I'm telling you, they can't lose to them. If they lose to West Florida, man, it's liable to be a riot down there, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious.
That's Pensacola too, right?
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, man, they can't lose to no West Florida.
Oh, what's good, Blue? Hey, Blue. What you got highlights or what you got to say about Tennessee State? Because I did not get a chance to see it.
I gotta go. He did a lot of interviews from Tennessee State. I gotta go back because I saw one with the Pope kid, and I saw another one. I gotta go back because I gotta go back and look at Mr. Mona's stuff too. I didn't get a chance to see any of that Jackson State stuff.
That's what I'm saying. And with the portal jumping like that, West Florida might go in there and get some people who want to play immediately that don't want to sit out for a year.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
Transfer. It's dangerous.
But Mr. Mona, if they beat FAM in Tallahassee, boy, listen. You ever been to a game? Let me tell you something. When they take a loss, it's like a funeral on the yard. I'm serious. I grew up with when they lose a game, like a smaller school come in, like a Tuskegee would come in and beat them. Man, it's like a funeral. I'm telling you, they probably have a riot.
Spence, I got cookies, bro. I've already. Blue says defense is going to be a problem at Tennessee State.
Oh, for real?
Mm-hmm.
With no depth or no size, no speed, what's the problem?
Is it going to be a good problem or a bad or a problem?
They want to mimic after the problem that we got at Jackson State. It's a good thing we're not playing them this year, huh?
So Blue is Eddie George on the hot seat?
Oh, who gonna go? Who gonna coach at Tennessee State?
I told you, I think that guy y'all got.
I don't think Eddie on the hot seat.
Okay, because I know they say Dr. Glover loves him.
Yeah.
So this is his third year?
Third year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's saying what? They don't have the players on defense, or they don't have depth?
He's saying they're going to be a problem, like as in.
Oh, as in good.
Be a problem, like good. Right.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking meant like they weren't going to be good. Okay, right. So they're going to be a good defense. But now remember now, when they played y'all in Memphis, that was a hard-hitting game.
That was a hard-hitting game. But you know what, though? Tennessee State always had a hard-hitting defense.
Yeah, yeah. Especially in my day. You're right. Their defense was. See, when in my day, the whole defense would go pro. Yeah, their whole defense would go pro.
Yeah, it's going to be a good problem. I want to just see what Draylon Ellis is going to do.
What now? Ask Blue. What about the other quarterbacks?
He's a good quarterback, Draylon Ellis. He had just got injured.
I mean, yeah. I'm not saying that nothing's going to happen to him. I'm just saying I want to know what they're going to do as far as
if he gets hurt. Yeah. What about the kids that's behind him? Are they quality, or are they just what are they, Blue? Are they do they have a good quarterback room or what? Did he respond?
I think he probably responded, and he probably I don't know if he's on the road yet.
Oh, okay.
Here you go. What's good, Blue?
What's good, man? I'm driving back.
Blue.
I'm driving back from Nashville, man. So I was struggling trying to type, so I figured I'd jump in real quick, man, give you all the rundown.
I figured you was doing that.
Right.
Yeah, man. I'm always driving, but man, Draylon has not practiced all spring. I'm not sure. Okay, so I don't want to speak because, man, listen, I'm close to his dad. I'm close to him. I talk to him.
Yeah.
That's kept him out.
You breaking up.
Is scheduled right now. Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yo, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So apparently he had some academic stuff that kind of kept him out of the spring. That he kind of had to get his head back on straight, from what I was told. But he is scheduled to come back. I will say they have a true freshman. He's a kid out of Tennessee. I believe his last name is Hagan. He's got an arm on him, bro. He can sling it, but I don't think he's good enough to be a day one starter. He's still a project guy in terms of mechanics. He's kind of like, he's got that arm where he can throw it through a car wash, but you don't know where it's going to go in the car wash. It might hit the wall. You don't know what he's going to do with it. So he's going to be a project. The kid they got from Youngstown, I heard he had a really bad spring based on what I was told, but man, he's so athletic and so big. Like, he made a run today. I'm not mistaken, I got it in one of my highlights. He trucked two people today for a touchdown because he went live, and I'm talking about just straight trucked them. And I mean, it was wild. But the defense, I talked to Fisher, who's the defensive coordinator, Jeff Fisher's son, before the game. He kept about 8 starters off the field just because he was like, man, I'm not risking my defense. He was like, I know how good we are.
Tennessee State.
Yeah, he said he didn't want to play anyone. So Kavon Pope, Monroe Beard, Jalen Bell.
Green, I was about to ask you about Beard.
Man, I think he's going to be so good. And listen, they got a silent commitment from a kid in the FCS. He was an FCS All-American, 3-time All-Conference, and was his conference's Defensive Player of the Year. And he's expected to be there sometime this summer.
You know what conference?
I can't, because they'll give it away. I told me not. Yeah, so I can't give the conference, but I mean, the kid's a stud. And I think with him, Monroe, Terrell Allen coming back in defensive tackle, and then adding Jalen Bell in at defensive tackle, and the defensive line is going to be terrifying. And they got the most, if I'm not mistaken, the most experienced starting linebacker unit in the entire country. I think, if they're not mistaken, we were trying to calculate it up. They have almost over 150 career starts between Kavon Pope, Monroe Beard, and James Green, who got a 6-year of eligibility because he was hurt last season.
Hey.
So, Blue, they win 9 games next year?
Ooh, I got to look at the schedule on that. That's tough because you got to think that they're putting Notre Dame on the schedule. I don't think any of us are expecting them to beat Notre Dame.
No. Gardner-Webb.
Yeah, they play Gardner-Webb. That's going to be a tough one. They play Gardner-Webb for the John Marin Classic. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what it is this year. So hopefully that's when Gardner-Webb lost a lot of their time.
Wow.
I do think trading Jackson for UAPB in the Southern Heritage, I think that gives them a win. They lose SEMO off their schedule, which is huge, and they add Lindenwood, who is Lindenwood was it was their first year in FCS last year. They just came up from D2. So I think that could be a win. If you're asking me, they'll have a winning record, but man, 9 wins is pushing it, especially with that Notre Dame game, because now you're looking at, man, can you go 9-1 in FCS play? That's going to be tough. I talked to a few people just around the program. They think they're going to be much improved, but I still think quarterback's a huge issue because Draylon's kind of on his last leg right now. And then if he makes one wrong step, what happens if he's not eligible?
Right.
So that's a major concern. Running back, they're loaded. I just think if they're in the kind of the same boat that like a Texas Southern or even an Alabama A&M was in 2 years ago, where if the offense can just score, like I'm talking about, don't be elite. Give me 22 to 23 points per game, possibly somewhere around 25, and they're going to be in every single game they play.
Right.
But the
and the
issue
defense
is,
will take care of itself.
Exactly. I just got off the phone with someone from Jackson because they're kind of tied into the program at Tennessee State. I was talking to them, and I was like, man, I don't think the defense will give up over 20 points per game this year, excluding the Notre Dame game because listen, they just landed Sam Hartman. I don't like the P5 games to compare for anything, but FCS, I don't see a lot of FCS schools being able to score 30 points on that defense. Not on their schedule, at least. I don't think they're ready for a playoff run, but I think the tone around Tennessee State, just to sum it all up, is Eddie finally got all the players that he wants in there. And this is a year that he might not be on the hot seat, like you said, but this is a year where he's putting himself on the hot seat and he knows he has to win.
Right.
So the excuses are over, and he knows he's got to go out there and win.
So Blue, are the offensive linemen 6'5" and better? How big are the offensive linemen? What's the average size?
The offensive I don't know their average size. Look, they look like a legit offensive line. I'll put it like that. They got some size on the line of scrimmage, but I don't think that was ever really their issue.
Right.
Really and truly, because I mean, listen, we saw how physical they played last season at times. I just think what you saw with Tennessee State last year, and this is the thing, is you got to have a lot of depth with them because if you can't trust the offense, we all know if the defense is out there for 70 plays a game, it don't matter how good your defense is. It's going to wear down. And I think that's what happened last year is the offense was so bad at times because they started out strong, gave Jackson a run for their money, almost knocked off Eastern Washington, and then they were missing like 12 starters and lost to Lane, and then everything kind of fell apart. So I just think if they can establish any sort of offensive consistency, they'll be fine. The offensive line looks good. They got the guy Romello Watson from
Grambling.
Grambling. He's gonna be a big starter, man. That's a JUCO All-American kid. They got a few guys returning from last season, so I just think their main question is quarterback and can they get over the mental hump? Because we know too, teams that aren't used to winning, you still got to convince yourself you're that team.
Right.
Now, Blue, did you talk to the offensive coordinator? What's his philosophy?
Yeah, I had an interview with him. He was I think I dropped him late last night. Coach H. He came from UTEP and he worked. He was the tight end. He was the tight ends coach under Sumlin at Texas A&M. So today, I'll explain kind of the concept. I don't know if they even televised their spring game or not. But it's they weren't really like a full scrimmage. They did 7-on-7 to start, and then they moved the ball to the 50, and would go in 4 downs like normal, but they would only play to one side of the field. They did a lot of situational stuff just because I think they had a lot to figure out. But it was a lot of that kind of spread offense where you try to draw them off sides, you do a big clap, and then you look to the sidelines for the check.
Right. Okay.
And then if they get a first down, I'll be honest, if they get a first down on the first or second play, it's hurry up from there on. If they get that momentum going, they're going hurry up, no huddle.
Now, is that kind of similar to the guy you had at Auburn that's at Central Florida?
Yes, Malzahn. It's a very, very similar offense to that. It's straight out of Kevin Sumlin, Gus Malzahn, Hugh Freeze, that type of offense.
Okay.
And they want a quarterback that can run. All their quarterbacks can move. The freshman kid, a little questionable with his movement. He really didn't run a lot. He's more of a pocket passer, but all the other quarterbacks they have on the roster can move.
Right.
And I asked him about that because I knew what tree he came from. So in the interview, I asked him about that stereotype about the spread offense where NFL teams are kind of saying colleges don't prepare quarterbacks to play in the NFL. And he kind of went into why that wasn't necessarily the case and why that was kind of a lazy comparison because he kind of went into the checks and why the reads are similar. The only difference is, looking to the sideline to like kind of make a move in college compared to the NFL. So he was like, man, I just think that's just people's excuse for NFL teams draft and bust.
Right. Okay.
But man, I like Eddie George, but I like that staff. Everyone, really tough for me because, Doc and T, and last year, I thought they were going to be so much better than they were last year.
Right.
And then injuries came. They lost that Murray State game. They lost the Lane game. It just all kind of came unraveled. And listen, they hosted 300 plus recruits today for Junior Day.
That was Tennessee State?
Yes.
That's a nice size right there.
I was there, and let me tell you, they were not lying about the number. There were kids everywhere, all in the indoor, coming across the parking lot. I mean, there were kids everywhere. Like, I was kind of watching them recruit before the game, and the coaches were going up to every single person. Eddie was going around, Brandon. They did a good job. It's hard with that many kids to kind of make personal connections, but man, the fact that 300 kids on a day where how many just HBCU programs has spring games? The fact they were able to get 300
everybody.
kids on campus is huge. So I was impressed.
Now, Blue, did anybody happen to mention whether or not they're going to put FAMU on the schedule in the future?
I didn't ask anyone about that. I just don't know I don't know if they're going to do another tough out of conference game. But you got to think they got North Dakota State coming up in the next 2 years.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
So it's
Fargo, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it's a home and home. So
that's right.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know which year is which, but they got 1 year they're going to Fargo, and the next year they're playing in Nashville. And I think they're probably, if I'm imagining, they're probably going to play in a Nissan and not on campus.
Yeah.
Hale State. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Hale, but I did kind of find out. I talked to a few people about why they don't play at Hale a lot. Apparently, they're really, really trying to get the state. Not really the state, but they're trying to get funding to put money into the stadium. Right. Because there's a lot of renovations that have to be done. Apparently, the press box isn't doing great in some parts, and they're kind of being forced to play at Nissan at this point. Like, he was like, "Man, we want to play."
Y'all want to be? They want to be on campus.
And the common theme, I think it won't surprise anyone who's been around HBCUs understands this, man. It's just a funding thing, and you can kind of sense the frustrations of the coaching staff, because I talked to one coach and who's not really from HBCU. I'll be honest, he came from like P5 type background, and he was like, "Man, I had no idea the struggles." He was like, "This place is a sleeping giant," but he was like, "Man, we're being sabotaged left and right with funding."
Right.
He was like, "Man, what am I supposed to do?" He goes, he was like, "We had these silent commitments. They went and visited elsewhere, and they didn't come here because the facilities weren't as nice, or they got offered more NIL." And he was like, "Man," he was like, "It's hard." He was like, "It's kind of disheartening when a recruit texts you and asks you, 'Hey, where's the bag?' and you ain't got a bag to give."
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't even think a recruit should even talk about where's the bag at though. Like,
but listen. Well, Blue, did y'all hear that they said that Angel Reese is gonna make at least $1.2 million, the minimum?
She deserves it.
Yeah, because they gonna ask about that bag now.
Oh yeah, she deserves every bit of it. Because man, you can't tell me that because I know it kind of became a war between the two girls on social media, which is ridiculous, man. I just think we should be happy that college women's basketball has this many stars that people care about. But man, if you took Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese out of that game, man, ain't no one watching that.
Nah, it was boring.
Right.
I mean, how much money do you think Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are directly responsible for making those two schools in the NCAA?
It was the most watched tournament, women's tournament in years, right?
Yeah,
it was the most watched tournament on both sides.
Yeah, and they said Dallas did a great job of hosting it too. They said Dallas really went above and beyond.
Yeah, they
did a great job.
A lot of money in the city for that, y'all. It was
like
what I was telling you. It was LSU folks, Iowa folks in. Virginia Tech had some Hokies in.
Yeah.
South Carolina, like we rolled out the red carpet for the women's tournament. So that was the good thing about it.
And the one thing too about this tournament, it proved SEC got the best girls basketball.
1,000%. Because people forget about how historic Tennessee is in basketball.
Right. Yeah. And then the number one team got put out. South Carolina got put out.
Yeah, I mean, think about the cheat code. Because did you guys listen to the pivot with Angel Reese and
I watched it.
The other girl, man. Could you imagine if Angel Reese would have went to South Carolina? How big of a cheat code that would have been?
It would have been nasty. And it is so crazy though. Just think about this. The draft was on Monday, right? The draft was last Monday.
Right, last Monday, yeah.
It was last Monday. Okay. Dawn Staley, her whole starting five got drafted. Just think about that. Her starting five got drafted to the WNBA. 3 in the first, 1 in the second, the other in the third. What does that tell you about her program?
Yeah, that's why I said that SEC got the best girls basketball, without a doubt.
I felt good. My women's bracket was killing it because I had LSU in the championship, but the sad part is I had South Carolina getting there too, but I think everyone did.
I think that was the matchup everybody was looking for, though. They was
I wanted it because I don't think LSU. I think LSU kind of got shell shocked that first matchup because I mean they got beat. They got beat down.
Yeah, they did. I saw that game.
It was ugly. I just wanted to see them get one more shot, man. I hope we get it next year. We'll see. But I mean, I think is what Caitlin Clark's coming back. Angel Reese is coming back.
Right.
That girl from Louisville, I heard.
Haley Van Lith is in a transfer portal. She already got her. She said she has a do not contact. She already know where she's going.
Oh, and she's going to go to an elite program, so they're going to be a problem once she gets going. So I mean, man, women's basketball is in good hands, man. The college women's basketball is going to be interesting, man. I found myself watching it, and I'll be honest, I've never watched it before, but there was just so many storylines.
Yeah.
Now, Blue, do you expect the transfer portal to be flooded like it's usually flooded? I mean, football-wise.
Everyone who's not sitting down already and strapped in better go ahead and get that done because it's going to be all hell breaking loose in the next 48 hours.
That's what I thought.
I'm about to say.
It's going to be insane. I mean, there's already a flood.
Weeks. It's 2 weeks. The portal's open for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. So the rule is because I think there's still like a weird confusion about this. The portal opened today. It'll be open for 2 weeks. That doesn't mean if a kid's not committed somewhere, they can't still be recruited. All that means is nobody else can enter the portal.
Right.
So as long as you submit your name by that final day, it doesn't matter when you necessarily commit. So I just think it's going to be wild, man. And especially because there's still more spring games next week on top of all the ones we had today. I mean, Georgia just lost one of their best up-and-coming defensive linemen.
That's right.
It was what, Bear something? I think his nickname was Bear or name. Auburn, the number 1 JUCO defensive tackle, Jeffrey Emba entered the portal. Tavarish Dawson, Auburn wide receiver, 4-star. Miles Rouser, 4-star at Campbell, entered the portal. Paul Hudson from Campbell in the portal. And you still got all Americans in the portal right now that were already sitting there from the first cycle.
Right.
So it's going to be insane. And I think there's a lot of teams with a lot of needs. It's going to be a fight for elite players in the portal, man. And I mean, especially at the P5 level, man, it's going to be, you're going to see ridiculous NIL and ridiculous pitches. This is going to be just insane for these next few weeks. I can't wait for it just because there's more stuff for me to talk about. But I think if you're an FCS HBCU program, there is way too much talent for you to have major holes going into fall camp.
Right. So how many do you expect TC will bring in over the summer?
I've heard that he already has a few kind of like silently committed, but I don't know the exact number. But if I'm looking just position by position, they're not going to bring a quarterback in. They're not going to bring a running back. Wide receiver, I doubt it. They might bring in a young wide receiver who, might need some developing that they see some potential in. You can never have too many receivers, regardless of how people feel about the room. Offensive line, I won't be surprised if they bring in someone that they feel good about. Defensive tackle, potentially for some depth. I think they're good at edge rusher. Looking at it, I already told Timona yesterday, I expect them to bring in a Mike linebacker, maybe 2. Right. And then when I look at the secondary, safety is probably full, possibly a corner or 2 to just be developed. But I think you possibly somewhere between 6 to 8 potentially if they find guys they like. But the only position I think is a major need to bring in just someone for depth is Mike. Mike linebacker would be my pick, is like the number 1 position I would expect Jackson to bring someone in at.
The word is a lot of people think Southern going to bring in a lot of boys. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think they need to bring in some defensive line help because they lost everybody. They lost the defensive line coach. They lost Dumas. They lost Cam Patterson or Peterson. They lost Jordan Lewis at edge. They got so many needs along the defensive line. They got a young guy. I want to say it's Shelby Givens, something like that. He's a stud. But man, they're gonna have to bring in some defensive line help. That would be my number one position, and possibly some defensive backs is what they lost Short to Jackson, and then they lost Corian Harris to the draft. So I think safety / defensive back would be my other position for Southern. I don't know. I think the only position you feel good at Southern is quarterback and possibly running back right now.
Yeah, I thought their running back room is filled. With that Kobe Dillon is back.
Kobe Dillon's back.
Carla
Gunn is.
What about Ryan? When there's a kid named Rhymes?
Yeah, Rhymes is back too, if I'm not mistaken.
They should be good as far as their running back room goes. We were talking. Mr. Ford brought up. He said he watched FAMU's spring game. Yeah, and Blue. He said something about Musa. He said Musa looked terrible out there.
I heard that. I haven't got to watch it yet because I was at Tennessee State, but I called one of the people I trust on FAMU stuff, and he said that defense is, I think, going to be fine, but I don't think anyone expected their defense to be terrible. But I don't think Musa's bad. I just don't know if he's a championship quarterback. That's my critique. I think he could be a solid quarterback. Second team all conference, probably. Yeah, I mean, easily. And I just can he be the quarterback when you need to go win a game? Can he pull a Davius Richard out and take over a game in the Celebration Bowl? Can he, can he have one of those just moments? And I haven't seen many moments from him. I've seen good play, but I haven't seen him be the guy that FAMU needs to just take over a game. And that's what it's going to require to win the SWAC.
Mr. Ford was like, he just said, he talked about it earlier, that Musa, he looks down on one receiver and he doesn't scan the field for any other open receiver. If you don't see his first option, his first read, he's going to him. And if you don't see him, and it's going to be a sack. It's going to be a problem. Because all you have to do is just you can move him off his spot.
Yeah.
And if he don't find that first receiver, if he's not looking to scan the whole field, because FAMU's offense is really not to me technically really not like the really not that advanced.
It's Rich Rodriguez offense. That's what it is.
Right.
He was taught that offense by Rich Rodriguez. It's really a running offense.
Right. And seeing him scan the field, like it's basically all it is little small slants, outs, ins, digs, curls. They might try to take the top off a couple of times, but you know this, Blue, that their offense is really not that advanced. It's pretty much simple.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason you see, because when you're building an offense, especially when you have the type of athletes at the skill positions like FAMU has historically, I mean, listen, their wide receiving unit is always good, always fast, always can make plays in open space. The issue becomes, do you oversimplify it just to get them in space and just take the chance? Like, can they make one guy miss in space? So when you run that underneath stuff, trust your quarterback to get them the ball, and then that's your playmaker. Can he be an Xavier Smith and make one or two guys miss and take it to the house? I think they just put so much trust in their playmakers that I think sometimes it handicaps their quarterback to push it down the field. And this hasn't always been Willie Simmons' offense. I'm sure Mr. Ford, we can talk about when they had a guy who could really spin it. Who was the kid in 19? Staley or Stanley?
Ryan Stanley. Yeah.
Man, they had the athletes and they said, we trust this dude to push that. Man, they were throwing the football all over the field.
Yeah.
With him, but I just don't think they've had that guy. I don't think Rashawn McKay was that guy, and I don't think Jeremy Russo is that same type of guy. So I just think Willie Simmons is kind of – we know what he wants to do offensively, which is what he was doing in about 2019 with a quarterback that could throw it all over the field that he trusts. I don't know if he's had that guy since then. And I think you're kind of seeing he's like, man, I'm going to try to make them as comfortable as possible and just trust my strength, which is my athletes, to go make plays in space. And, I mean, at the end of the day, the only games he hasn't won are the Jackson games.
Right. That's
really, I mean, he has beaten everyone. I mean, other than that, he's 16-0 against HBCU teams, including their 2 wins. 2 wins over South Carolina State. So you can't hate the results. It's just, man, that one game is haunting him right now. And let's be honest, the first game, it was a close game. I mean, it was 7-6. So we're really talking about the only game he's been just completely blown out of was when that Orange Blossom Classic last year. So it's just, man, I don't think you can criticize him too hard, but man, you eventually have to get it done. And that's been my thing this whole offseason is, if it's not this year for FAM, man, when are we going to hold his feet to the fire and say, this is the year you have to win a championship? Like, it has to be done. Like, FAMU is too historic of a program, has had too many great players, too many great athletes, is one of the top blue blood HBCU programs in the country, and they haven't won an outright conference title since 2001. When is that not good enough?
Right.
Yeah.
Blue, you sound like they're alums. You sound like they're alums.
Now.
Yeah. It's been a minute since they won the MEAC. Like we said, you know, the 1 year they missed out because of APR. The other year they missed out because they lost to Bethune.
Right.
But what I got a question, Mr. Ford. Did Bethune own FAMU for like 8 straight years?
9
straight years in the
9 straight years. Yeah. They finally beat Terry Sims, I think, his last 2 years.
Right.
Other than that, he owned them. That guy, Brian Jenkins, owned them. I think they beat Brian 1 year. He owned them. Yeah. They dominated them for 9 straight years.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I need. Blue, they was asking, got a fan asking me about Cardell Thomas going into the portal from LSU.
Yeah, no, he's solid. I know, if I'm not mistaken, he took an official. I don't know. Okay, I want to say it's an official visit to FAMU today. I don't know how official, unofficial visits necessarily work with transfer portal, but I know he visited FAMU recently. Man, huge kid, and I think they need some depth on the offensive line, but they got some really good. I still think going into the year, due to the fact, I mean, let's look around. All the best offensive linemen in the SWAC left, for the most part. From Mark Evans to Tyler Brown to Drake Centers, I still think Jalen Goss for FAMU coming into the season, we'll see how he plays this year.
He looked good today. He looked good.
He has an argument with Robert Mitchell leaving and Corey Bullock from Central since he transferred. Right. I think there is a very, very strong argument for me that Jalen Goss is the best offensive lineman in HBCU football. Going into the year.
And their offensive line is a veteran offensive line. I watched them today. The lead kid at the center spot is good. They got another kid backing him up. He was wearing 66. But their offensive line looks strong today.
They got a few young guys, so I'm really excited to see if they develop. I want to say it's TJ. I want to say it's Demas, but I could be pronouncing that wrong.
Wait a minute, that's the kid from St. Petersburg or Tampa?
I believe
he was wearing 66.
Yes,
he was that. He played today. Yeah. He played today. Yeah, they play him at center, and they play this Lee kid. I think he out of Bainbridge, Georgia, Lee County, Georgia, some way. He plays the center spot too. But that Lee kid plays center and guard.
Okay, yeah. No, I mean, I want to see. I think I need one more offensive tackle to emerge for them, to be honest with you. I think, and then also it's just the running back room is strong. Terrell Jennings, you got McLeod back, if I'm not mistaken. You got the Fant kid that came in. you got to be able to run the football. I mean, I could sense the frustration on Willie Simmons' face in the press conference about week 8 when they were averaging like 70 yards per game on the ground. They could not run the ball to save their life against anybody, and they had a good offensive line, and they got good running backs. I just don't know if it was the scheme. I don't know if teams just said, listen, we'd rather just put this game on Xavier Smith and Musa. I don't know what the deal was, but it logically it didn't make sense that they were so bad at running the football last year. And I think for Musa to be good, he's got to have a good running game. You can't average 60 yards per game on the ground because they were last in the SWAC last year in rushing offense.
Dead last.
Yeah,
I think they average yards per carry is like 3.1 or 3.2 yards per carry. As a team, you cannot average that running the ball. They didn't even average 4 yards a carry. They averaged 3.
Yeah, and one thing about FAMU has to play tight ends. Now, they try to not play with them, but they're better when they got at least 1 or 2 tight ends on the field, especially that Zero, that kid who came from Colorado State. He's a pass catcher. But they got another kid from Tallahassee. He wears number 81. That guy's a good he's a good blocker. That guy's a good blocker. And he's a good pass catcher.
Now that having a tight end helps out with your
and that helps Musa. Musa plays better with tight ends in the game.
Mm-hmm. It helps your running game. It helps the pass, especially the running game, because they give you an extra blocker where you could go power, or you could have them shift, be an H-back, line up as a fullback. In a sense, kind of be a, it's a lead blocker, but you got to find a way to run the ball because you cannot. Me and Mr. Ford, we talk about this all the time. They play Alabama State. You cannot have 27 carries and 34 yards for
0.4 yards a carry.
Almost a yard a carry. And not expect that you're going to lose that game, even though they did win the game.
They won the game,
They won the game on a blocked field goal.
Yeah.
But
the scary part is let's look at because I did that column. That was I think my first or second column for Hero Sports was on FAMU. They have beaten everybody fairly convincingly outside of that Alabama State close game. And there was like 1 or 2 other ones. But man, they've beaten a majority of their other HBCU opponents by 10 or more points. How dominant could they have been in those wins if they would have had a run game?
It would have been pretty much dominant. You would control the clock.
Yeah, and on top of that, too, because everyone could talk about the D2 game, and I get it. That probably did play a massive role, like the playoff committee said. But what would their resume have looked like if we're saying they're 9-2, they did have that D2 game, but they're beating everyone other than Jackson by like 20 points?
They would have gotten the playoffs.
That's a whole nother conversation because you struggle against Albany State, your D2 game. I mean, they struggled that game.
I watched it.
Yeah, you scrape by against Alabama State, and you never look particularly dominant. You struggle against Grambling because weren't they down till like the third quarter against
They were
Grambling?
Down like third quarter, and then they turned it on.
So, and it was just consistently struggle win after struggle win. And all that counts as W's. But then when you get into that debate about who deserves this at large bid, then we're having a whole different conversation because it's tight. And then we're like, okay, well, let's look who looked more impressive in their wins. Well, that's kind of where so I just think with FAMU's running attack, it unlocks a whole nother potential for that team if they can run the football this year.
Yep.
Now, Blue, the best looking quarterback today was a kid named Maritovich. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, he was the kid that came in the second half of that.
He looked the best today.
He's got potential in my opinion. Now, I heard sparingly about this kid. I'm very excited to see what DJ Boney looks like. The transfer that came in from
was he wearing 16 today?
I believe so.
He's an athlete, but now his throwing is kind of inconsistent. His footwork needs working on. But now he's a big, pure athlete. I mean, he looks like a game breaker at quarterback because he can run and he can throw it.
He did. From what I know, I don't know if he necessarily wanted to transfer, but the quarterback at Eastern Kentucky, listen, he's a stud. Parker McKinney, he was a Walter Payton semifinalist, all that. He's going to probably throw for 4,000 yards this year. I mean, he's probably going to be a favorite to win the Walter Payton, one of them. But he got to like a 7th year of eligibility, which kind of led to Boney need to go find somewhere else to play. Because McKinney just kind of had that position. I think the kid's got a lot of potential. And I don't know if necessarily his skill set fit what they wanted to do at Eastern. And I think he fits a lot more of what FAMU wants in the quarterback. So I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, I think so too.
Behind Musa this year, can he develop? It's all about development. And I also want to see, I do think, I don't know if a lot of people have talked about this. How big of a loss was KJ Black for FAMU?
Oh, yeah.
He decided to take that opportunity.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about that enough, in my opinion. I really do think that he was kind of like the secret sauce behind that offense. And so I just think they got to get that QB coach situation figured out too, because I do think KJ was a huge loss.
It was no doubt about it.
So I got a question for you, Blue. I don't know if you tuned in to see a little bit of the Jackson State spring game. And if you did see some glimpses, what do you think as far as what you saw as quarterback play, especially with Greyson Thompson and Jason Brown?
So I got to see like just some highlights. Excuse me, I got the full game I'm going to watch when I get home, but I didn't get to see the Greyson kid play. I haven't seen much from him, so I'm not going to give my opinion on him. I think it's so hard to judge. I'll be honest, it's so hard for me to just say if quarterback, because every spring game is different. But I don't think Jason looked bad. I think he looks like a good spot quarterback, and I just think his experience playing at the FCS level, being an all-conference guy, playing at the Power 5 level in the SEC, I think that's going to pay off in the big moments, because I don't think he's going to flinch.
Right.
And that's half the battle.
Yeah.
And so I'm not putting a lot of stock into a rainy spring game, anything like that. I think he's going to be just – I still think he's a starter. I got to go see this kid. I've heard a lot of people kind of talk about him, the Greyson kid. So I really want to see what he did to kind of make everyone talk about him. But because I heard some people even say that he was going to be potentially better than Phillip Short. And so I need to kind of see what he did today.
Hey, T, what do you think about Phillip Short? Because I know you saw a little bit more of him earlier today.
He looked solid to me. He ran a little bit, which was surprising. That's one thing that I like, is when you don't see anybody that you're able to pass to, everybody's preoccupied or nobody's open, you go ahead and run. So I like the fact that I was able to see Phillip Short not being scared to take off to get that first down, which is really important.
Okay.
I will say I talked to one or two people just about what they saw, and then from the highlights I saw, the one concern I've had all season was experience in linebacker, especially Mike. And based on what I saw and what I heard, I think the front four is going to be able to buy that linebacker unit early in the season some time to develop. I think Travonte Davis, Jeremiah Williams, Gaddy, Doyle, I think their experience is going to be refreshing for the linebackers, kind of cover up some early mistakes from that linebacking unit in terms of a run fit standpoint, in terms of generating pressure. And so it'll give them a few weeks for them to kind of catch their rhythm, I would say, in the Jackson State system. Because I don't think they have an Aubrey Miller next year. I'm going to be honest. That's my one critique about how they constructed it. I don't know if they got an Aubrey Miller on that team that is going to kind of be that leader at the Mike position. But I do think they got some athletes back there that are just going to take some time to develop in the system. And so I think it's such a great thing that they have those leaders like Gaddy and Doyle and Travonte Davis, who have been in that system for a while now. And I think it's going to greatly help the linebackers come along, even though they're young and a little bit more inexperienced than what Jackson fans have been used to these past few seasons.
And don't forget, Blue, that defensive line will also cover up any mistakes in that secondary also.
So with the secondary, I'm not really concerned about safety. I think Asias Guthrie is probably the best safety in the SWAC already.
Best cover safety?
Yeah, like he's a stud. He's proven he's done it. I'm not worried about Asias Guthrie at all. He's a monster. I do have some questions about, because I think the corners have they've shown glimpses of their potential, but we haven't had to see any of these corners step up and be the guy. They've never been the number one corner, if that makes sense. Okay. Because you always Nuggets been the number one corner for the most part. When he's on the field, Nugget was the number one corner.
Right.
And so who steps up and kind of leads that cornerback room, not the whole defensive back room? That's my biggest question. But I think safety, man, Asias Guthrie is going to be the best safety in the SWAC, in my opinion.
That says a lot. Another question everybody was asking, like, who was going to emerge as the starting running back? I saw J.D. Martin. He looks phenomenal, but there's one kid, Timon, what's his name? Number 36, the new number 36 that we had on the team.
Ezequiel
Johnson.
But
is that kid from Walford?
I just wanted to point out for the secondary that K5 Kevrick Williams was starting a lot more than Nugget was.
That's because Nugget was in Prime's doghouse majority of the time.
Yeah.
I know, I'm just saying, like, we got Kevrick, out there. And I'm pretty sure I think he had an interception last season.
Yeah.
Jackson's scheduled to play some freshmen in the defense secondary next year, right?
Yeah. Because they all, majority of them came in early.
Yeah.
Batman Mitchell, one. Tristan Sion, who's another one.
Right.
3-star Nyreek Sharp.
He'll be in May.
We got Josh Short.
That's already there.
Brother, like, he's transferred from Southern.
So I think it's going to be
Jalen
Hughes.
Keedron Pelican, a 5, 6, 7, and 8. I think 5, 6, 7, and 8, which of course I have on that slide. That those are the starting.
And Mr. G, I don't think we're struggling I don't think we're shaky at cornerback. I just think because of the scheme that we ran last season, which was a bump, press coverage. It was bump and run.
Yeah, that's right.
The scheme now is more of fit for a zone. To not to say they can't cover, but it's just to help out, to get that back in. They don't want to get burnt. That's the whole thing. That's all it is.
I didn't say that Nugget was not better than K5. What I said was Nugget was not playing like that last season. Is anybody in the chat going to deny that K5 wasn't starting with Herm Smith, regardless of who is better?
Now, the secondary played more like the Raiders of the 70s and 80s. They had the corners on an island, and they figured that they would sack your quarterback before he could drop 5 and 7 steps and throw on him. That's where I feel like most of them corners, like Bolden and all them guys, gonna be in the NFL because they was playing them like NFL corners at Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Because they put their corners on an island.
The scheme fit.
For
those players.
Yeah.
But I just think this scheme for this season with the new defensive coordinator and the new secondary coach, it is going to be totally different.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because the reason why I say that is, Blue, you can attest to it. If you just from what Jonathan Bradley, when he was the D-line coach at Alcorn, they were in the backfield within like 3 seconds. I just think, Blue, I just think with after Shedeur took that third step going back, they were literally in his face the whole game. Like
Alcorn's defense, I don't know if people knew this, but Alcorn was like top 5 in the country in tackles for loss for almost the whole season. And I mean, Malachi Bailey earned all SWAC honors.
Oh my God!
In that first, I mean, Malachi Bailey single-handedly was abusing Jackson State in that game last season. I mean, there was one drive where he had 2 sacks in one drive.
Yeah, I'm about to say Malachi Bailey was. I think he was in whoever was on that the right side, the right tackle at that time. Oh man, he was abusing him. He was straight abusing him.
And Malachi still has 2 years of eligibility, if I'm not mistaken. Which is
terrible.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I mean, Malachi's going to be a problem at Alcorn State this year. I'm excited to see what he does, but I think Bradley's scheme fits what Jackson's personnel needs to do so well that, I mean, as soon as they announced to hire Bradley, because I knew kind of early that was where they were going, just because, I mean, I have a show with an Alcorn State coach, so like he kind of told me that that's kind of where it was going, and I was like, oh, that's going to be an issue. I mean, I think the defense is going to look really, really good this year, man. I told people this. I think Nyles is going to get 10+ sacks if he stays healthy this year.
That's what I said. Just think about this. Just think about this. If he did not get hurt in that Tennessee State game, because they already had 4.5 sacks, right? It should have been 5. If he would not got hurt, he probably had more. Probably like 12 to 13, probably about 14 sacks for the season last season. Because I don't think there was anybody in a SWAC that can block that dude one-on-one. And even if you bring a running back to chip him, I still say because of his length and his speed, his speed with his hand movement, he's going to get to the quarterback regardless. Because just think about this. It's like night and day with Nyles Gaddy. When he first came on the scene, it seemed like he was playing timid.
Yeah, that's true.
He was timid. Like he knew what he was doing out there on the field, but he didn't play. I think he didn't play to his full potential.
I wouldn't say timid. I think when you look at his development, he was playing at like 220.
Right.
That first year with Houston. And on top of that, too, when you're comparing him to James Houston on the other side, like obviously, I mean, James set the school record for sacks in the season at Jackson State?
Yeah.
With almost 20. So, I mean, of course, like he isn't going to produce when James is getting the sacks like that, but he had to play a different role, I think, is why you see him change, too. James was the guy to go get the quarterback. Nyles had to do other stuff because you can't have 2 defensive ends, screaming upfield. Nyles had to play the contain role, play that B role. Yeah, that B role to James is going to get the quarterback. Last year, but while he was healthy, Nyles took over that James role and became that bona fide first option pass rusher.
Right.
Plus, he's playing to like 250 now.
Yeah.
A lot easier to get to the quarterback when you're 250 and have that extra 30 pounds of muscle when you're going up against these big offensive linemen.
He was 6'4" when he first got to school. I think he grew 1.5 inches afterwards. This is coming from his dad. His dad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a stud. I mean, I I just think it took Nyles a little bit to grow into his frame. I mean, I did, but I also think, you know, he was just playing a different role that first year, man. And I think once you saw him get hurt, you kind of saw Reagan kind of step into that role and have a pretty good season. But I don't think Reagan, I mean, listen, I got to see Reagan in person. That dude, I don't know how he was playing defensive end.
He's small.
He is tiny.
He's small.
He was in the pass rush drills at the Legacy Bowl. I was like, who is this kid? I thought they grabbed a defensive back and brought him over there. I mean, he is so skinny. And I really do think Doyle, if Doyle could take that step, because I think we all thought Doyle was going to have a better year than he did last year.
Mm-hmm.
If he takes that next step to combine on the other end, or Phillip Webb even, as long as Nyles has a running partner, like Nyles became the running partner with James, Nyles could have a huge season. And that's the biggest thing, is that if he's continued to develop, Jackson just needs one more other edge rusher to emerge next to him, so all the attention can't go to Nyles.
Right. Hey, y'all got to hear first from Blue.
Hey, Blue, I watched that guy from Pike County with Alabama State today. His presence is felt, it's known. He's brought a different philosophy to town.
I still, based on what I heard about that, D Davis, man, he's killing me. He is going to become, like, if he doesn't take that step forward, he's going to become the greatest what if story of all time. I mean, this kid could not be stopped in high school, man. And he has done not a damn thing at the collegiate level. Because I mean, I got to see a few clips, and I don't, did he even look like one of the two best quarterbacks out there?
The thing about him today was, as long as he's rolling out, sprinting out, semi-rolling, he's okay. But the one thing he can't do, he can't stand in the pocket.
He only like 5'9".
Yeah, and that's one thing he just can't do. And if he stands in the pocket, he's just lost. He has to be moving.
I'm worried about their potential at quarterback, because my thing is with a new QB coach, is he going to be able to convince the OC head coach to say, we're sitting him, we're going a different direction? After all the hype, all the investment in D Davis, are they going to be okay with them going a different direction at quarterback? That's my biggest question for Alabama State.
I mean,
from what I saw today, I think that the guy from Pike County will make the necessary adjustments. I think D will take the step forward. I really do. I love his arm strength. I love the move. You know, he's got that Michael Vick in him. He can elude the first pass rush. The problem is he's not a pocket passer. He's just lost in the pocket. But as long as you roll him out, sprint him out, he's at his best.
I say he was never a pocket passer when he was at North Shore.
Yeah, he's not a pocket passer.
He was never. He was.
That's a waste of time for him. Standing him up in that pocket.
Just looking at his film. They're not even looking at his film. Just looking at him completely, because I was at some of those. I was at one of those games where he played. They won state. He was never to be rolled. You know, stay in the pocket.
Right.
But I think when it comes down to it, if he's not doing well, E-Rob has to go. He has to say, look, you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're not moving the ball. You're eating sacks. You're not getting the ball to our playmakers. I have to sit you down, and I have to bring somebody up to where this QB up to where we can try to get the offense going. You got to get a jump started. In certain games last season, I didn't think he wanted to do that, to where he to get that offense jump started. Especially you have Myles Crawley as your backup, and clearly I think Myles should have been the starter.
Well, one thing I can say for him today that I saw today was they got a running game, and they're going to have a commitment to the running game. And that's going to help the D out a lot because they're going to have a running game. They're going to have a running game, and it's going to be good.
I just don't want them to waste another good defense. They're
we lost Blue.
We lost Blue, yeah.
They had too much talent on defense to be as bad as they were.
As far as
that offense was terrible last year. Yeah. No philosophy, no direction. They just was throwing stuff against the wall. That was Mr. Harry Williams.
He ain't gonna let this up, y'all. He ain't gonna let this up.
I still think Alabama State goes and gets another quarterback in the transfer portal.
You think they get one?
I think they're going after one.
Okay.
After today, because I heard there wasn't, I heard there was some glimpses, but I still don't think they had that bona fide guy. Why? How Phoenix from Benedict still in the portal is beyond me.
I don't understand that either.
Alabama State should be calling him every day and asking him what he needs to get down to Montgomery.
Right.
Does he want to go FBS or what does he want to do?
I don't think I don't where in FBS you see him playing because I don't think he's going anywhere big in FBS. I mean, what you're looking at Group of 5 maybe? I don't see Phoenix at the Power 5 quarterback.
Right.
Just in my opinion. I mean, there's levels to it. Group of 5 maybe depending on where it is, but man, he can come be a star at Alabama State.
I think he could too. I think so too.
And South Carolina State, Alabama State. I'm trying to keep thinking Delaware State, Morgan State. I mean, those are 4 right there that he absolutely could upgrade the QB room. And then if you really wanted to extend it, Valley.
Yep.
It's probably still looking for a quarterback. I didn't get to really see what their spring game looked like, but I'm going to reach out to Coach Anderson tomorrow. But, I mean, there's at least 6 or 7 teams in HBCU football. Tennessee State, potentially, that could use him at quarterback. Hampton as well. So it's just, I don't understand how he's still in the portal, man. He's too good of a quarterback.
I don't understand it either.
I can't believe it's spring ball and we're still talking about teams that need quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You don't have a quarterback by now. How are you going to win?
You can play without a quarterback and still win. All you got to do is just be a game manager. Just plug him in and be like, look, just don't mess this game up for us. He could be the Rashawn McKay.
I'm so glad that era is over. And I hated that. They had everything but a quarterback.
Now, that FAMU transfer that went to Norfolk, I'm extremely excited to see what he looks like. Cameron Sapp.
Yeah, Cameron can play.
Yeah, he transferred
Cameron from Jacksonville. Yeah.
Yeah, he went up to Norfolk State, and, man, Odom's needed a quarterback more than I think words can possibly express. So I'm really interested to see what he looks like. Because, I mean, we know Odoms is going to run the football. That's in his DNA. But can he do something with any? Because, I mean, their quarterback situation. I know we joke about Alabama A&M. There's a strong argument that Norfolk had the worst quarterback room in the country last year.
Yeah.
Any word about Alabama? Not Alabama. Arkansas Pine Bluff. Are they looking at another quarterback right now? Because I don't know what's up with Pine Bluff.
No idea. I haven't heard anything about Pine Bluff. I don't know. Then was their spring game today?
Their spring game is next week.
Next week. So I guess we'll probably see then. I know they brought in, I want to say it was a 3-star kid at quarterback. A 3-star on somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. He won, oh my God, like the player of the year, or it was all state, something like that. He has some like accolades behind his name, but I think he's more of a scrambler. So I don't know what type of offense they're going to be running this year. So I think after the spring game, I think everyone will kind of be able to say more if they're really going to go after a quarterback or not.
Okay. I was about to say that's the only other team I figured that needed a quarterback was Pine Bluff. Alonzo Hampton haven't said too much of anything since he got the job. They just doing everything quiet. Other than that, man, it was a good day for some for some spring ball. And it's still crazy to have all those schools play their spring game today.
Yeah. But I think that we're going to see the addition of a lot of additions to these teams. What we saw today, the minimum will be 10 to 15 players will be added.
I forgot Morgan even had they had their spring game, but their spring game got delayed and then they canceled it because of inclement weather.
Okay.
And I actually wanted to see what Coach Wilson was going to do up there in Baltimore.
He needs a quarterback, right?
Yes.
Maybe. They brought in a young kid that can spin it.
Okay.
It's the same thing I said about the tennis. I think he's from the DMV area.
Oh, okay. Okay, from DMV. Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, but he can Markham sent me his highlights when he committed, and he's a stud. But the problem is, it's always risky starting a true freshman at quarterback. They got to be different coming in if you're going to put them out there as a true freshman. I just don't know how desperate they are at quarterback. But if I'm not mistaken, that Carson Baker kid got like a 7th year of eligibility, so he's back too. So when all else fails, I mean, he'll probably be rolled out as a starter again, if I had to guess.
Oh my God!
Well, Blue, have you heard anything from Daytona Beach? What's going on at Bethune-Cookman?
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything. I mean, they post some pictures every once in a while, but I mean, I haven't heard anything in terms of position battles. I know they still got the corner that's really good, Amari Hill Robinson.
Right. I remember him.
He's gonna be a bright spot, but other than that, man, I haven't heard anything. They've been kind of quiet.
They just got a 3-star wide receiver. I saw
Bethune?
that. Yep.
Was he from Florida? Where was he from?
I'm gonna give you his name. They just got that commitment. I want to say.
Got Mr. Brown. Got Mr. Brown in here. Got Mr. Brown, Jason's father. Man, it's just their spring game is next week.
Who is that?
Bethune.
Okay. Where was that kid from?
I'm still looking.
Okay.
Yeah, everything like just right there. You have to go to their actual Twitter page to see.
We got Zoe. I need Zoe up here. Tell me, I know he was at the spring game. If you can, I'm gonna send you the link, Zoe. Jump in if you can, and if not, just let me know.
I know next week will be an interesting week because you got Grambling, PV, and UAPB are all next week, and Bethune.
Yep.
So those are the spring games next week. So that Grambling one is going to be the one I think everyone's going to be tuned into.
Now, Blue, what you hearing on the quarterback situation at Grambling?
Nyles Crawley.
I was just about to say that.
That's it. Nyles Crawley. That's going to be the starter.
Okay.
I would be shocked if he's not QB1. I will be floored. To be honest,
Grambling win 9 games.
And then Hugh Jackson really would be on the hot seat.
Can Grambling win 9 games?
Grambling's not winning 9 games. No,
they're not winning.
I don't see 9 games. No, I don't see 9 games. I'm trying to think just like off the top of my head about their roster. I look at the West because I don't know what their schedule is. Because do they play an FBS team this year too?
They play LSU.
Oh,
that's right.
That's one L. So now you're looking at going 9-1 against that. Because I still like Alcorn more than Grambling, to be honest with you right now. Just as a whole team. Southern will be interesting. It will be also interesting because Grambling has such a weird home field advantage. Who's got to come to them is a big question for me. Like, who has to go to the hole and play? But not went to the wide. Jesus.
I know Texas Southern has to go to the hole. Let's see, out of the West. This is out of the. I'm just thinking about schools out of the West. I know they play Alcorn. In fact, I think I got their schedule. But yeah, man.
So his name is Kion Calhoun. He's a 3-star. Well, he has a 3-star rating by 247 Sports, but he doesn't have a composite score. But he is from Cocoa, Florida.
Oh, okay.
6'5" and 183 pounds.
So
now what? And what was the high school?
Cocoa High School.
He should, that area usually turns out some great ball players. He should be pretty good.
What up, man?
What's going on, man?
What's good, Zoe?
What's up, Blue?
Man.
So you not going to the after party?
I'm finna get ready to go now. I just got to the house. Finna get ready to go.
Oh, okay.
I know it. What do you think about today's spring game, man? As far as what we need and what you like, what you didn't like.
I don't have any gripes about what I dislike, but my field of what we're looking for is different from everybody else. So let me preface my comments with saying that. I'll just say we show what we need to show. Even not trying to be objective, we're still not complete. You know what I mean? Because I know what we have coming in, and what's about to like break loose in the next week or so. But even with that being said, quarterback play, we showed the depth at quarterback that we needed. You know what I'm saying? I think it just comes down to, people and what they want to see. To me, in my opinion, a lot of people feel like if we don't have something equal to Shador, then there's something wrong. What's going on? C. Lee, I did see you, my man. It was good seeing you too. But a lot of people feel like if we're not finding something equal to then Shador, then we've regressed, and I would disagree with that. Our quarterback room is a lot deeper than what it was last season, and we're going to add another player to that as well. You look at the running back room. Everybody wants to talk about losing Sevion, but at the same time, you saw J.D. Martin, you saw the way he ran today. Then you add you add Desmond Moultrie to that. Nobody saw Moultrie. I see him every day at practice going against that. That defense. And Moultrie did at practice what he did today. Moultrie's really, really good. You still got Herb Mulligan coming in. We have another piece get ready to come in. So we saw what we saw at the running back room. With the receiving room is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Then, again, we could talk about the O-line, but the one thing that's different about the O-line now, more so in the past, is even with what we had today, you still saw them hold up pretty good. We've still got some more players that we're going to add, but understand it's a whole different scheme. And what we're asking for the O-line to do is totally different than what we asked last year. So you can't hold them to the barometer of what you saw last year. You see what I'm saying? Because it's a whole different thing. What we're asking them to do, they're good at it. And we have some other good players coming in. We got some other good names that's coming to join that line as well. Also, since we're not passing the ball as much, and even the type of passing that we're really going to do, we're still just going to rely on those guys coming together and gelling. But I think the time that they'll need to gel won't be as critical or as long as it would under air raid offense because there's so much passing. You see what I'm saying? It's a whole lot easier to run block than it is to pass block. And we're going to do a whole lot of running. But the defense is as it is. I've been saying this since we've been in practice. I'm like, the defense ain't changed. And in a lot of ways, we've gotten better. I know that sounds blasphemous when you talk about losing Aubrey and losing, the players that we lost at the linebacker position. But we upgrade on the D-line, and we're still going to play, anywhere from 10 to 12 guys on the D-line every game. The back end is the back end. I know it sounds blasphemy knowing that you lost Travis Hunter, and then you say, hey, we won't regress on the defensive backfield. But, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, granted, just being straight, just being honest, even with all that being said, we still need to see the linebackers come in, and we got to make sure we got what we got. Now, we believe we, have what we need at that position, but we still, no matter how you feel, you still got to see it on the field and see it produce. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just at the linebacker spot. The talent is there, though. Make no mistake about it. Alan Walker, Javen, so you got JJ there. JJ is a bigger, faster version of Keontae Hampton. But even if he has these traits, he got to get on the field and produce. So the thing is, once he's able to do that, then we can actually go forward with that. But the defense is what it is, and the defense pretty much showed, even in today's game, what it showed all last year. And Nyles Gaddy is in midseason form. Doyle looks the part, ready to go, and Jeremiah Williams is going to wreak havoc on the SWAC this year. And again, that's just him. And I even mentioned Travonte Davis, and he's the first team all SWAC defensive player.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Do we have some holes? Yes, we do. And we're gonna do what we can to solidify those. But man, we're good. Great day to end the spring. We aren't bad injury wise, so we're pretty healthy coming out the spring. We're pretty good.
What do you see? How you feel about TC? Even though I know it's a spring game, him being his first time being a head coach, how you feel he kind of how he ran the game today?
I think TC was spot on. I think honestly, now granted, it's kind of hard to get. I'm gonna be honest, man. It's kind of hard to gauge anything to take from being this a spring game. I mean, let's just be honest. But when it comes to just him, his energy, his decorum, just how TC looks apart. He looked like a seasoned coach. But again, this isn't a pressure, pressure field game that mattered, But what I see from him, he looks the part. Everything looks good, but it's an empty gun right now, to be honest with you, Doc. So we'll see when we get to Atlanta, but I don't have any worries, any concerns about TC Taylor in that regard because, man, the man is prepared. He was prepared to be head coach, and he's hitting the nail on the head every step of every day with spring practice and ending it today.
I like the answer. You got any questions, Mr. Ford? Before
yes. So what's your thoughts on the NCAA talking about allowing spring games to be real games where you would play not yourself but another team?
It's pros and cons to it. The only thing, the only thing I could kind of see right now is that it just further divides the haves and the have-nots. It really, really does. Now, granted, it's all about how you look at it because let's just take Jackson State, for example. Let's say Jackson State were to play Ole Miss in a spring game. And they say, hey, we'll pay you $1 million for this spring game. And, yeah, we could use that to offset some costs or anything, right? Mm-hmm. But then you got to look at that, too, because I guarantee you Ole Miss is not going to play Southern Miss in the scrimmage. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to play anybody that's equal to. So you're already dealing with some type of perception issues, just even scheduling the game. That's the first thing. Then the second thing is going to be, what can you gain from it? Because I feel that one party is going to gain more from it than the other.
Say it louder, Zoe. Say it louder, Zoe. You guys say that again.
I really feel like one party is going to gain a lot more from that than the other. I mean, seriously. And Mr. Ford, not only that, there's another rule in the NCAA in place too. Now they have it where you have unlimited amounts of official visits. That's more of a concern than playing, that game. Because again, that further creates a divide between the haves and the have-nots. For an example, I hate to use it because like you're saying one end of the spectrum than the other, but take an Alabama or Auburn. Mm-hmm. They can afford to say, oh man, we could take 30 official visits every freaking weekend, right? And then you take a Southern Miss, they can't.
Right.
That sways competitive balance. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it creates a wider gap between the haves and the have-nots. And every rule, if you really think about it, is making a Grand Canyon size divide between the haves and the have-nots. You add NIL legislation with this. Mm-hmm. You add, have being able to have the staff that you have with, now, having now you can have as many analysts as you want. Then you can have unlimited amount of official visits. I mean, that's pretty much what's being put in place. It's weakening Group of Five.
So basically, are they trying to close the gap on what we were gaining? So basically, FCS teams and even D2 schools gained a lot these couple of years, especially with the transfer portal. And so now they're trying to restructure the gap.
Well, I don't think the gap is designated for the FCS schools. I'm going to really be honest. It does just off the rip. But what it really does, it really is putting the gap between the Power Five and the Group of Five. You see what I'm saying? Now, just off GP is going to give it to the FCS, but we kind of in our own lane anyway, if you really want to be honest. But the thing is, now it's going to make it even tougher on you. Let's say you have a school that wants to move up to FBS. Well, now it's almost trying to make it not be advantageous for a school to move up to FBS, because the moment you do, look at all the stuff you got against you as opposed to the Power Five. Mm-hmm. So it's like they're doing small things to make them autonomous to having their own thing away from everybody else.
Thing make you want to say go.
Oh man, listen, Zoe knows, because I think I hate the spring game idea.
I don't like it either.
It is literally like I did a whole column about it too, and the title of it was "The Spring Game Idea is a way to further discredit FCS football."
Yep.
Because listen, I get it. They got the leverage technically. Because it's like, listen, you want $1 million, and a lot of people are going to say yes. And I get it because you need it for your budget.
Yep.
But if I'm the FCS program, you have to fight for yourself at some point, because you can get $1 million. But guess what? Like, all your team's going to be used for is a glorified scout team.
That's it.
Because Bryce Young's not going to go out there against you. Alabama's going to send their third stringers against UAB or Alabama State or Alabama A&M. And you're not going to get any real understanding of your team. You're just being used for the P5 for a check at the end of the day. And then all those amazing upsets we see, all the amazing, NFL, like Jacoby Durant getting 2 picks against Clemson, all this like stuff that the FCS is having to overcome in terms of perception, man, you can forget all that, because no one's putting any stock in a spring game. Right. Regardless of if it's a quote-unquote real game. So if I'm the FCS schools, the only way I'm signing up for this is if you're paying me $1 million for a spring game, I need another $1 million, and we're playing during the regular season within the next 3 years. It's got to be a –
I was going to tell you with us, Blue, it also devalues the FCS program. And I'm going to tell you something else, because Ken and I talked about this today. How about this? While you're on this scrimmage, if you have any player that even remotely stands out in that scrimmage, they coming to get you and offer some NIL money and poach and take your best player anyway.
Because now the transfer portal opens right after the spring game.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's a lose-lose proposition for the FCS program.
It makes no sense. There is literally not a single benefit for an FCS program to sign up for that. And going back to Zoe's point about, because there was a few points I love that he made. One, the offensive line point he made about Jackson is legit. If you've ever played offensive line, man, run blocking, the communication you have to develop to be a good pass blocking team in the air raid scheme. I mean, man, your communication better be on a whole nother level. But going back to what he said about the moving up, I really do think these rules are kind of being put in place because we're seeing a mass exodus of teams trying to make that jump to FBS. It's getting a little bit oversaturated in the Group of 5 market. And guess who makes money off the FCS? The NCAA.
Yep.
They don't. The NCAA's worst nightmare are the top HBCUs and the top FCS programs, the North Dakota, the South Dakota, the Montana States, they do not want those programs moving up and crippling the FCS. They're going to make it hard to move up. And you know what also is going to happen? Those struggling Group of 5 programs you see, guess where they're going to be headed? They're about to be headed straight back to the FCS because they're going to fail. And one of them was my favorite team growing up. No one ever knows who my favorite FCS team was that got me into it. It was Jacksonville State because I'm from Alabama. Jacksonville State is going to come back down in the next 10 years, if I had to guess. They're not going to make it.
They're in the A-Sun, right?
Yeah. They left the A-Sun. They're going to the CUSA. It is too oversaturated, and they're not putting enough money in that program. I would be shocked if Jacksonville State makes it as a Group of 5 program.
And the travel is crazy in Conference USA.
Insane. And that's why and I get everyone's frustration because, you know, we had the whole stupid debate for like 2 seasons now about North Dakota State, Jackson, all this stuff. There's a reason why North Dakota State has been smart and not moved up, because they see the chaos that's going on in Group of 5. So why would you risk that right now?
Yep.
That would be dumb.
You be your big fish. You be the big fish in a small pond.
Man, and that's why, I don't know if you guys know this. I'm sure Zoe might have heard it, probably Mr. Ford. The Sam Houston people did not want to go to FBS. They were pissed.
Yeah, it diminishes their rivalry with Stephen F. Austin. They had some other natural rivalries within the Texas area. Yeah, from what I'm hearing, I heard a couple of people down in Sam, they did not want to jump up.
The head coach came out like a little bit after they announced the move. He said, "I want to compete for championships. I'm a championship coach." He was like, "There's no championships for Group of 5 teams." I mean, really and truly, Cincinnati is the only program in the history of college football from the Group of 5 since the 80s to really compete for a national championship, which is insane. And they got smacked by Alabama. Put that in perspective.
I will tell you, but see, that brought to the point that I was mentioning last year when they were having the playoff talk. I was like, okay, well, all the upper echelon team is in the FCS, right? There's always in the playoffs every year, right? We always push playoffs. I was like, okay, well, they're contradicting themselves because the best teams, they're jumping FBS. And we know they're doing it for money, right? But then it goes against everything they've been saying for the past 10 to 15 years. Because if you're all about championship, why in the hell would you move up to FBS to get into a conference knowing that you won't even have an alleyway? No, you won't even have an alleyway to play for a damn championship. You're going to solely be playing for what every Group of 5 is playing for. You're going to win your conference and play in a bowl game. Because, you can say, they're saying now with the playoff, they're going to possibly try to create a pathway for you. But here's the thing. It's not going to be for every single FBS conference. You have to be rated a certain way in the ranking. And it's slim pickings on that as it is anyway, because watch this, with all the movement on the FBS level, the SEC is getting stronger with Texas and Oklahoma. The Big Ten has gotten stronger. The AC, you see what I'm saying? So they're making moves and constricting to add more numbers to the Power 5. So what do you think is going to happen with strength of schedule? Because the more now they add these teams, it's going to make it even more difficult for Cincinnati to repeat what they did a few years ago. Because remember, with the ranking, I think you have to be ranked at least 15th or higher, I believe.
Yes, you got to be top 15.
And so, with the way the Power 5s are adding these teams with strength of schedule, it's going to be even harder for a Group of 5 team to get that 15th ranking.
Yeah,
I will.
Aren't they supposed to expand the playoff to 12 teams, right?
Yes, 12 teams starting. I think either next season or 2024, or whatever. But I will say, I really don't think, outside of being eligible for bowl games and just a little bit more TV money, there is literally zero difference between FCS and Group of 5. You can't convince me. I really do think if you took the top 25 FCS teams from the final poll and they played 25 Group of 5 teams, I would guarantee the FCS would have a winning record.
Probably 10, 15 teams beat up on a Group of 5.
Oh, I mean, you look at the top 10 in FCS, and they almost all had an FBS win.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
Okay, because I'm gonna throw this at you, right? The Sun Belt is a damn good football conference, right? The Sun Belt has a better chance of actually getting a team, if we want to talk about, into a bowl game with a 15th ranking, but they don't even factor in the strength of schedule truly when it comes to the Sun Belt, because they're going to minimize, because they're going to maximize, we have the SEC. They don't go solely about ranking all the time. Perception plays a part in this too. Right. But the Sun Belt is a damn good football conference, right? And it's not fair for the Sun Belt to get grouped in with the MAC. It's not fair. It's not right. Look at what the Sun Belt Conference did last year alone. And they've routinely in the past 2 to 3 years have had 2 or 3 teams ranked in the top 25. That's more than the Pac-12. And that's a group of 5 conference. But they're automatic, because they have that label, group of 5 conference, they're going to get attached to whatever the MAC does and the Mountain West does. Because even when Boise State was having all that great success, they were really the only team in their conference having their success.
Yep. Look at about when the American, because the American, they grouped the American in the group of 5, but I'm not going to say they ain't no Power 5, but they're the only good. Yeah, all the good teams about to go.
Yeah, what, Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, and oh God,
that's it. That's it, because BYU's going. Yeah, BYU's going coming.
Yeah, BYU's the other team, and they were kind of they were kind of like kind of off in their own world. But Memphis is going to go P5 soon. Memphis, Appalachian State, and Coastal Carolina are the next ones to be looked at for somebody, because the ACC might get ravaged here in a minute if they don't fix that TV contract.
Yep.
Yeah.
Florida State has already tried to get out.
Florida State.
Yeah, Florida State has already made it known. They want to go SEC.
Wasn't they SEC at one point in time, or was that?
No. Florida's always been SEC.
Okay.
Not it. Now Florida State actually was Metro, and they were like what y'all talking about, a group of 5 years ago.
But yeah, I don't. That's a lot of moving and shaking. It's a lot of if was a fifth.
It's about the money. It's about that network money.
Yeah. Because like you said, Blue, just when the American, even though the American is the only, I think it's the strongest G5 conference, where you had Cincinnati last season, Houston was good,
and then Tulane do very well.
Tulane did well this past season in football.
They beat up Southern Cal in the Cotton Bowl, didn't it?
Yep. Memphis went to the Cotton Bowl the one year.
But here's the difference, though. Look at those institutions as juxtaposed to the institutions in the Sun Belt. It's a whole different stratosphere.
Yeah.
Look at the resources now, because again, you look at Tulane. Well, you look at Memphis, Tulane. Look at the resources, money, everything they have. Now watch this. Look at ULL. Go look at Coastal Carolina. Go look at Appalachian State.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They call ULM the ghetto of the Sun Belt.
But ULL though, look at those schools in comparison, because just as good a success minus the bowl game. And the only reason why I say this is because the Sun Belt schools haven't had an alleyway to get to a bigger bowl. You see what I'm saying? But when they have those regular season games, they've had great success. Because again, they had 3 teams all ranked in the top 20 at the beginning of last year.
Bro, what this remind me of? So I know me, Zoe, and Mr. Ford, and maybe you, Blue, if you would have, I don't know how old, but y'all remember when after the Southwest Conference disbanded, right?
Created the Big 12.
98.
Yep.
remember those other schools that were not invited to the Big 12 because Texas didn't want them in there in the first place?
They made Conference USA.
They made Conference USA.
That was Houston and all them, wasn't it?
Houston, yes.
Southern Miss, Tulane. It was an amazing basketball conference when they started. The Big 12 was created in 1998. It was the merger of the Big 12 and the Southwestern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ones who were left out, plus the old Metro Conference.
Yeah, Metro.
Was Conference USA.
Mm-hmm. So that's what it reminds me of. Then you got so much moving and shaking because now you got these. You have blue, like you said, Houston, Cincinnati, UCF, leaving Conference USA. I mean, not Conference USA, leaving the American to go to the Big 12. UConn bumped out as far as basketball, went back to the Big East. So bring in a UAB, a UTSA,
Whoa, question, because they did go back. Blue. What conference is football is UConn with now? Because basketball and everything else to do with the Big East.
Yeah, they're independent.
They're independent.
Okay.
Yep. So you got all these schools from Conference USA, majority of the schools from Conference USA, right? Your UTSA, North Texas, UAB. Who else is going over there?
I can't remember.
Like it.
You remember Southern Miss pulled out and went Sunbelt, right?
Yeah, they're in Sunbelt now.
Yeah. You got all these.
James Madison went Sunbelt.
It's reminding me of back, it just reminded me of back when all those schools went and created Conference Conference USA. And then also it reminded me when the other schools out of the Southwest Conference, like TCU, they didn't want, you know what I'm saying? They didn't want them there in the Big 12. They went over to the mountain. They went to the
NCAA used was they said to keep all them Texas schools out because they gonna cheat. That was one of the problems with that Southwest Conference. You got all them Texas schools in there, and all they did was cheat.
Man, let me tell you something. They all cheat. Every last one of them.
I'm about to say.
I got some stories that rock your world, dog. They all cheat.
Yeah, SMU was cheap. SMU was the king of cheaters.
No, they weren't. They were the king of getting caught.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. They was the king of cheaters. Yeah, they were king of getting caught.
I'm telling you, SMU wasn't even the worst. They were just the king of getting caught.
Who's the worst?
Dude, they're all horrible.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm gonna tell you like this.
Probably Oklahoma.
Dude, hold on. So you never heard the story of Marcus Dupree recruiting?
Yeah, I remember. Marcus.
Okay, do you know who the final two was? It came down to Oklahoma and Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then go look at the story of what Texas was doing in Oklahoma. By the way, they was all in the same conference. And SMU, I don't care what kind of boosters they got. SMU don't have more money than Texas.
No. Nobody does.
Oil money, man.
Yeah.
Texas got oil money.
So that's what I'm saying. SMU was just the king of getting caught. Everybody know that Texas A&M got Eric Dickerson and Trans Am. Everybody know that.
Oh yeah, we all knew that.
That's what I'm saying. That they all do it, bro. They all do it.
Man, it was just crazy. Like it just remind all the movement of the schools just reminded me of the old Southwest Conference just disbanded.
Like the thing that is going to be interesting because I think all of us agree the P5 is trying to pull away from everybody.
Oh yeah,
they're going to try to leave the NCAA.
Yeah,
I will be shocked because it would make zero sense for them not to if the NCAA just got rid of the distinction between Group of Five and FCS. Whoever's not going P5, we're just mixing it all together because we're trying to draw more interest and money into our playoffs, into our system, and that's what they're going to try to do. Because let's say Appalachian State doesn't go P5, you got the UABs, you got all these other schools. And having those brands compete at the FCS level and be in the playoffs, that would be huge for the NCAA because you could get more TV money, you could get more fan interest, you could have more locations. So I think if it ever happens where the P5 leaves, do not be surprised if the distinction between FCS and FBS Group of Five completely disappears.
Man,
Really, the NCAA has no enforcement power over the P5 right now. They already know. They halfway out the door. The NCAA is halfway out the door. What the P5 is going to do is get them a commissioner, and then they're going to dismiss the NCAA.
Thank God. I've been. You can go back because this was an episode. I think even when I had my co-host at the time, Brandon. Man, we probably recorded an episode about 2 years ago, and it was all about how having a commissioner or like a board of commissioners that elects one guy to be the speaker would be so much more productive than actually having the NCAA control anything.
Yeah.
My favorite saying is the NCAA is the king of fixing stuff that doesn't need to be fixed and being late to the party in terms of making the changes that actually need to happen.
Yeah.
They have there's not another organization because they were started in 1901 or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
They have consistently made the wrong decision for over 100 years now. Put that in perspective.
That guy Mark Emmert was probably the worst president they've ever had.
I think
probably the worst.
With the NCAA, they never advanced with time. They never did.
Well, what they were doing, they were maintaining their plantation. They were making money off of them schools. It was all about them making money. That's what it was all about.
Well, if it's time for the NCAA to go, it's time for them to go.
Oh yeah, it's long overdue.
So, but I know they're gonna keep it as far as when it comes to their basketball.
Well, that's their biggest money maker because really NCAA football, especially Power 5, it's been bought off by ESPN and by Fox. They control that.
Yeah, the NCAA technically does not control a single of the college football playoff. They got completely locked out of that. So I mean, really and truly, the P5 are kind of operating on their own accord anyway.
Yeah.
It's just, when's that last connection going to be cut? And it's going to be tough because the NCAA does run all the tournaments for every other sport at these universities. So that will be kind of, I think, I know that I'm a football guy. We're all football guys here, but it's really the other sports that are kind of holding up like the final, I guess, conclusion of like this battle.
Yeah, the basketball, that big dance, that's their biggest money maker.
Yeah.
That's NCAA's biggest money maker.
I can't remember. Lee, not off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Because Marcus Dupree was from Mississippi, wasn't he? He was from
Philadelphia.
They've already done the documentary.
I met him. He came and spoke at Baker High School when I was playing high school football. He came and spoke to our team. Man, like his story is just insane.
I was just with him Wednesday.
They did he owns was he driving truck or something? What is he doing now?
He does a lot of different stuff.
Oh, because I know they did a documentary on him a few years ago.
Yeah, 30.
Yeah.
Titled it "The Best That Never Was" or something crazy like that.
Yep.
Yeah, and they did. He was supposed to go to USM, was?
No.
Ole Miss. When Ole Miss offered so much.
No, he was supposed to go to Jackson State.
Jackson State.
That's what I thought because I thought that's why when I saw that comment, they kind of right because he was from Philadelphia and like I know he was getting recruited by a lot of, and then Texas and Oklahoma threw like everything, and I mean they pretty much offered him the world, and it was just who found another planet to offer him.
What happened was he was supposed to go to Jackson State. Southern Miss only came into the equation because of a connection with the little rigged preacher.
Right, that's right. I remember about the preacher. Yeah.
So that's the only reason why Southern Miss came into play because they had contacts with him and some little shady preacher. But outside of that, Texas and Oklahoma came. And you got to remember, Texas and Oklahoma wasn't even really recruiting Mississippi at the time, and still don't. You've never really seen a gang of players from Mississippi ever go to Texas, or Texas A&M, or Oklahoma for that matter. And so they threw everything in the sun at him, and Jackson State couldn't. But he wanted to go to Jackson State, and Coach Gordon was actually recruiting him.
Man, I didn't even. What?
Go ahead, Doc.
No, I didn't even know that though. Go ahead.
But what year did he come out? Because it wasn't because you guys what I know that Walter Payton graduating class of Jackson had what
this is when Jackson State was rolling. This had to be, I believe, 85 or 86.
Was it that late? It wasn't that late.
He was 80.
No.
I think he was like 83 or 84. Because he was after Eric. Not after Eric Dickinson. Dickinson came in 79. He
was in college when Jerry Rice was in college. So I would say 80, 84, 85, something like that.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice came out, his last football season was 84.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was the early 80s. So I was just thinking, because you guys had, what, four Hall of Famers on that Walter Payton senior year team?
No, 3.
3?
That was
Jackie Slater.
74.
74, yeah. Jackie Slater, Doom Brazil, and Walter Payton. The other one is Lem Barney. He was from the 60s.
Yeah, okay. That's the other one. Because, I mean, could you imagine the streak of, like, because I was talking to someone today about running backs, just as SWAC history. And then, like, I was like, the fact that Jackson probably, I mean, how many in the top 10 would you give Jackson? The list is long in terms of Jackson State running backs. We were talking about how Alcorn I don't think Alcorn's ever had someone hit 1,500 yards in a single season at running back. And that's how we got up. And it was like, man, Jackson's running back history is just insane. Yep. Could you imagine adding Marcus Dupree to that?
Yeah, you're right.
I'm going to tell you, because at the time when Marcus Dupree was getting ready to come out, Jackson State had Carl Blue.
I remember Carl.
Jackson State was rolling in. You got to remember, in the 80s, Blue, Coach Gore won 8 out of 10, eight SWAC titles in 10 years.
Yeah.
So
when I was in college, they had Perry Harrington, Ricky Patton, Ricky Young was ahead of them.
Yep.
They ran the wishbone, and all the running backs went pro.
Let me tell you, when Walter Payton played, let me tell you who the 3 running backs were on the team Walter Payton senior year. You had Walter Payton, you had Ricky Young, and then you had a guy that couldn't get on the field, so he ended up transferring to Abilene Christian. That's Wilbert Montgomery.
Yeah, I remember Wilbert.
Wow. Yeah. He ended up getting drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, he went to the Super Bowl.
And also Ricky Young played behind Walter Payton, but barely played. Ricky Young ended up getting drafted by the San Diego Chargers. His rookie year, he set an NFL record for catches in the season with 88 catches, his rookie season.
Yeah. He was with Dan Fouts and them. Yeah, I remember Ricky.
Man.
That's just insane. Because I know, man, the streak that I couldn't believe were the FAMU conference championships back when, they were in the
SIAC.
Yeah, that was Jay Gaither right there.
Yeah, they won like 27 out of 29 or something insane like that.
And guess what? The only teams that even won the SIAC then was Tuskegee and FAMU. That was it.
Well, basically it was FAMU. Tuskegee ruled before World War II. After World War II, the powers in the black colleges was Southern, Prairie View, and FAMU. On the east side, it was Maryland, what we now call Maryland Eastern Shore, and that school, Morgan State. Those were the dominant powers at that time. Tuskegee Tuskegee is the winningest HBCU in the history. They got more wins than any other school, but their power decreased after World War II.
Yep.
After World War II, that's the emergence of Jake Gaither, Billy Nix, and Arnett Mumford.
Tennessee State.
Well, Tennessee State stole the coach from Jackson State. That guy was named John Merritt. He left in '63. And that's when Tennessee State emerged. Now, they had some powers before. Henry Arthur King, Coach Gentry, and they had another coach, I can't think of his name. But Henry Arthur King was the main one. Henry came from Kentucky State.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, because I know Gaither won all those conference titles, and then what was it? Hubbard came into FAMU, and that's when he won the national title.
He won the national title.
Yeah, Hubbard came in '74 from Ohio State. He was the running back coach with Archie Griffin, Pete Johnson, and the quarterback was named Cornelius Green. They won the national championship in '74 and then that's when he came to FAM. The first year was 77. They went to 11-0. 78, they won the first 1AA championship. The quarterback was a guy named Albert Chester.
Yeah, because I remember looking at all that. Because Jackson was also in that playoffs, right? They lost to
They met in the semifinals. They met in Jackson.
That was the national championship game.
Yeah, they beat Jackson and then played UMass the next week for the championship. But the championship game was FAM and Jackson State.
Man,
that was a real championship.
That'd have been crazy to get a rematch, man. FAM Jackson in the first ever FCS national championship.
Yeah. Jackson State had a boy named Robert Hartburn Hardy. He went to the Seattle Seahawks, I think. That was in 78.
Man, it was been crazy because both teams ran some sort of had a power running game. Yeah. And watching that game when they played, when FAM played UMass, I didn't know that the game was played at Wichita Falls.
Yeah,
and I went to I didn't know, but me and the missus, we went to the stadium to go see, our son play football. I didn't know that was the site of the first FCS Division One.
Yeah, that time it's called Division One AA.
Hey man, I'm gonna roll, y'all.
Yeah, have a good one, man.
Like,
thanks for coming on.
But I didn't know that. But just looking at, it's like, oh, I guess this place is history. and Mr. Ford, it still looked the same.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it still looks the same. It's a stadium. It's like a 10,000 seat stadium dug into the ground. You come out at the top, go down, and stuff like that.
Now Texas hosts a Division II championship and the FCS, right?
Mm-hmm. So the Division II championship is in McKinney, at McKinney ISD Stadium. That Blue, have you been to that stadium? I know you because I know you came to Texas this past year and last year.
The division, where they host the Division II game, or the
Division II. I already know about it.
Yeah, I've never been to the Division II national championship game. I want to go because I just like football, but man, Frisco
from Frisco to McKinney ain't number like 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's not far. I'm just talking about like playing it there is. I don't know. I get it
at the soccer stadium.
Yeah, like I get it. I mean, listen, it's a nice stadium. Like it's nice, and the facilities around it are great. I mean, I like Dallas, Frisco area anyway. I mean, there's a lot to do, but at the end of the day, man, like I still feel like I would like it to be played at the home stadium of whoever's the highest seed in the championship. That's just my fault.
They would make some money.
Yeah. Exactly.
They make some money.
Play it in the home stadium because to me, your dominant programs right now in FCS that participate in the playoffs, let's take most of the HBCU, like the SWAC and MEAC out of it. Your dominant programs, man, you're asking fans to travel from North Dakota to Frisco, Texas every year. Like, come on, man. That'd be like asking Jackson fans to be like, hey, man, you want to go play a national championship in Nevada? Like, come on, man. After you just spent all this money throughout the whole season.
Other than us going to Vegas to go to to go on the strip. Now, I don't think we would want to go play.
Vegas might be too big of a city, but it'd be like, you want to come play in just like a random city?
Like Reno?
Not necessarily.
Reno will still go on the.
Well, because they used to host it in Chattanooga, like the mid-2000s.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, over at UTC.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that D2 National Championship game is over at McKinney ISD Stadium. The stadium when they built that stadium, bro, it was more expensive than the stadium they built in Allen for Allen High School. It was like, I think it was like $15 million more that they spent to build that stadium. And the stadium looks like it's a college stadium, bro. It feels like a college stadium, but it's meant for the school district for McKinney.
Right.
And then when you say you went over to Frisco to Toyota Stadium, that's even though that stadium's built for FC Dallas, the Frisco ISD and their 13 high schools, they share that stadium with the school district. And they also share the stadium, even though it's quote unquote the practice facility, indoor practice facility at the Star, where the Cowboys practice at. That in where they had the it was a all-star game there. That's the same stadium that Frisco ISD play at. All the schools play there.
Oh.
So,
well, I'm about to wrap this on up for me.
I am too.
yeah.
I've been on since earlier.
How far are you away from Alabama, Blue?
Oh no, man, I'm been in Alabama because you got to think Tennessee ain't that long, but I probably got about an hour left on the drive, man. Yeah, it's
He's
not
been
bad,
on the whole call from
He's
Nashville.
gonna do one thing. He's gonna get on that road.
Man, I love driving. I know people think I'm crazy, but I don't mind flying. I've flown my whole life, but like, man, I love being in just the car, find a podcast, turn on some music, and just drive, man. Save that money. I'm good. I'll drive anywhere other than Montana. I won't drive. Like, there's a limit. So anything under like probably 15, 16-hour drive, like, nah, I'm flying after that.
Man, I appreciate.
What are you headed to another game next weekend?
I'm trying to work out a trip to Grambling.
Ooh.
So that's where I'm hoping to be. I've never been to a game down there. They got a new SID, so I'm trying to work with him. He doesn't know me. Like, I knew the other SID, so I'm trying to, get that intro going. Because I really want to do what I did with Tennessee State this week with Grambling. Mm-hmm. So I want to sit down with Miles Crawley. I want to sit down with Tony Hull, the new OC. Want to sit down with Hugh. Want to sit down with some other players that I sent them. So I'm trying to work that out. So I'll probably make an announcement later this week if we can get that done.
Bro, that SID better start watching your shows. He don't know what he missing out on.
Not man. Listen, I had a blast. I got to give a shout out to Tennessee State, man. Listen, I know y'all probably know too. Like, just working with like the school, the other SIDs, man, it's so hard to get access, man. Tennessee State was like, man, just get here. We'll figure it out. Don't even worry about it. I mean, had a table set up, helmets, had a location, had sent me like a time sheet, like, this player will be here at this time. Like, I need you to be here at this time. Help me set everything up. I mean, was super, super helpful with everything. So I got to give a shout out to those guys at Tennessee State, man. They're really good.
Man, I like that. I wish they would do that for all, most majority schools. I gotta hit you up. I'll probably hit you up on Twitter because I gotta talk to you about media passes. That's another thing that I'm trying to get myself into to get the media pass.
Yeah, anything I can help you out with, man, just hit me up, man. I'll walk you through everything because I know it's a learning curve, man. Because especially with because it's so weird with some of the schools in like HBCU football, man. I feel so bad because you got one SID trying to do everything with no assistance, and it's just like, I don't know how they do it. But man, hey, I appreciate you having me on your show, man, Mr. Ford.
All right,
appreciate
man.
You guys. Y'all
so are you gonna have is it Monday night or are you gonna do Sunday night, your show? Your recap.
Probably Monday night. I'm working on having some people on for that show, so it'll just kind of be sitting around their schedule. But I've been kind of slacking on the live streams. But yeah, it'll probably be Monday or Tuesday night if I had to guess this week.
Cool.
All right, man. Y'all go check out Blue over at Blue Buzz, y'all. So yeah, man, it was another cool Saturday night, y'all.
You be having them long lives, like 4 or 5 hours.
I wasn't trying to do that this time.
Good Lord.
Blue started talking about Tennessee State. I'm
glad he broke it down. Look, we don't have to play Tennessee State this year. So I'm happy to hear that Coach George has done some good recruiting out there. I hope he does well this season. I'm always rooting for him. Of course, not against Jackson State, but I'm rooting for everybody in the SWAC until they play Jackson State.
Oh yeah. Come on, Uncle said. He said Blue's really a Jacktown Jew. Ain't that something? I appreciate it. We appreciate y'all for joining us, man. Even she been on the thing with most of the day for half of the whole day, pretty much. She needs to get kudos to you. You need to be.
I'm gonna be chopping up parts and pieces of these shows for the next week and a half. Don't ask me about no lives until next Saturday. I'm gonna just
Next Saturday. I'm gonna start. I'll do my timestamps and then I'm gonna start doing my chopping up stuff. So man,
wide receivers and the I haven't had a chance to do wide receivers, the Blur Nation 2.0. Haven't had a chance to do that, so that's what I want to do next. That's gonna take a good week and a half to get off. But I'm glad we got the sheet now. Now we know who's on the roster. So if you didn't see, if it ain't one of the names of the 75 players on, then they're not. Don't ask about them. Don't ask about them because they're not on the team.
If you ask about them on the show, you will get sent to the upper room. But hey, y'all make sure that y'all subscribe to both channels. We both have memberships to our channels. Make sure that you join both the memberships on our channels. Make sure that you share this with folks, comment with folks, and like both channels.
Shout out to DJ Mr. Key for calling in live earlier on my show with a exclusive on at the Veterans Memorial Stadium. He went.
Yeah, he was on it. He was on it on the field too.
I was glad to see that though, because those players look huge. Good Lord, they might look small, like if you're just watching like aerial view of the game, but up close and personal.
Yeah, there's some big boys. So y'all, man, look, the more y'all come and view both of our channels, the more we get the subscribers up. She got me by a little bit, but you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna be back on my game, my A game. You got anything to say, Mr. Ford, before you roll out?
When are y'all coming back?
I'm Mr. Ford. I'm surprised you didn't ask us if we're going to contact the SWAT commissioner.
No, I want y'all to get the president now. I'm ready to hear from the president from Jackson State.
We even got the SWAT commissioner yet.
I'm ready to hear from her.
Baby steps, Mr. Ford. Baby steps.
Okay.
Thank you, Katie.
We should have told. Zoe got them kind of contacts in. I know Zoe done had on his show, right?
Yeah, you do.
The commissioner? I ain't never.
No, the president. You hadn't had the president on that show yet.
Mr. Ford, the president is not going to come on to one of our shows. They are in an active presidential search, and she has other obligations and duties besides coming on.
You know, I asked you that the other night. Somebody put in the chat, because I always go back and check the chat. And somebody said there is a video of her talking about, which I got to try to find it, talking about Jackson State athletics.
Yeah, I think she is a supporter of the athletics for Jackson State.
Yeah, because I got
if you think about it, though, really everybody, even if you wasn't an avid supporter of athletics, the way the last coach exited out and the way that we've been attacked, pretty much everybody's on board for athletics and just.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to go back and find it. They said that she did a 30-minute video on her take on the athletic department at Jackson. So I'm gonna try to find it.
Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna look for it too for you, Mr. Ford, because I want.
Yeah, look for it because
they have obligations, balancing the budget and making sure that everything's smooth.
Oh yeah, but I'm telling you, what? If y'all can read that, I think she'll come on your show.
Dr. does say that the JSU president already gave a 30-minute presentation on JSU.
Yeah, that's what I saw the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to find it.
Yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. This has been another Saturday Night Live with Dr. SheLovesThee. It's a collaboration with HBCU OverDrive and SheLovesThee. Make sure that you subscribe to both channels. Make sure you comment, share, and like both channels. Make sure you hit the notification bell for both channels. This show has also been sponsored. It's going to be sponsored by We Work for Everything. They are a clothing company out of San Diego, California. If you go ahead, check them out. Go to weworkforeverything.com. They have some good stuff. It's an up and coming brother that's doing this thing. I'm supposed to be getting my hoodie coming in sometime next week. And no, Spence, I'm not hungry. I ate earlier before I came on from work.
Thanks to Blue Bloods and Zoe from Tiger Talk and Mr. Ford for coming on tonight. We had a great discussion.
All right. Everybody be blessed tonight. Hug your loved ones. And we out this thing. And stay dangerous. That's all she waits for. Peace out.